Hold on, let me get the extra page up.
Check that Twitch for us, Tony.
I see us. I see us live.
Oh, I hear myself. Okay, that's good.
I see us live.
Oh, I hear myself. Okay, that's good.
Oh, okay. Have we already launched and we're live? So should we be doing
We
some
are
kind of show
live.
intro?
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. Welcome back. This is DFS for Cheapskates, which has now merged into
Gambling
something bigger.
absurdity.
Yeah, it's gambling absurdity. DFS for Cheapskates. We found a producer.
We didn't
So
just find him. Like he's been around. I want like guys for those of you who didn't watch the waiver wire show last year.
Which
First
is all
off,
of you.
how
Which
dare
is
you?
all of you.
How dare you neglect the waiver wire show? And my good friend Joshua Chuboff, who's going to be producing this show and will be running the waiver wire show for us this year. And
What's
did we
up,
do a Pod
degenerate
Squad
Den?
announcement just now?
What's up, degenerate Den? Happy to be here. I'm gonna be judging you all silently or
the
audibly sometimes.
the branding of Degenerate Den already it started. That's what producers do. Like, man, that's outstanding stuff. Um, we will be joined by Ryan Edgecombe throughout the season, but he is on special assignment this week, um, fishing. So
Oh, I
we're
thought special assignment for this show meant just gambling. just,
yeah,
just
he's well. Honestly, he probably is.
Oh, there's definitely a bet on who's gonna be doing it. Who's gonna be getting the most fish?
first
Who's
half,
gonna catch the longest fish?
first half, first fish, anytime.
Anytime fish scorer.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
I need to download the plugin to make sure that I can actually make some of the bets I'm gonna want to make. But you know what? Maybe I'll do that later. I'll put it up for
so
now because I kind of if I see a bet I like, I'm gonna want to make it. But guys, we are here. Football season is back. And those of you who are into Discord may have already heard me hinting that I've been coming up with some gambling metrics that are actually just fantastic. Like they were to help me last season. As a recap, we had a we found I created a system to try to predict kickers. We had a 94.5% return on our investment on kicker lineups last year. So what that tells me is I should be doing this with other positions. So I've been doing some tools. This is going to be in the beta phase, but we are going to try to make everyone as much money as possible this year. Guys, thank you very much for coming. A couple things I want to get out of the way. We have a Discord. Please join our Discord. Our Twitter is fballabsurdity. You can find me at you know what? I don't know what your Twitter is, Josh. To be honest, I know I am the wall lead, and th fantasy is Tony and Ryan's, which is also a podcast that they run that Football Absurdity hosts. And let's see. Oh, subscribe to the Twitch. Give us Jeff Bezos's money. If you guys have Amazon Prime, you guys can join for free. And what else am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything?
yeah, you forgot to mention that my podcast got downloaded 300 times total. Look at that. Celebrity, internet celebrity right here.
That is very annoying.
I'm
Yeah, not
breaking
that. I'm
the
sorry. No,
no,
no. I
that's
love that your
perfectly fine.
podcast. It's not. It's still saying my betting is restricted. Oh my god, I am a monster. I
Yeah,
am
you
a
do too much.
terrible person. Tony, I am so excited for your podcast getting downloaded. I'm just annoyed that it's not letting me bet on my
Producer, no, Wally,
computer. So you know what? I'll
being a
just show.
robot right now.
He's really broken up
I'll
about it.
make them later, and probably will because I'm going to be documenting them, and I want to be supportive.
I appreciate you. So, I wrote an article
Uh,
for the website about some gambling lines. So, I wanted to talk about the ones that I wrote for the website, and I want to get your thoughts. Are you there?
I'm being a robot.
Yeah.
I,
Here,
We can't hear you, buddy.
Waleed, what I'm gonna need you to do
I'm the
is turn off
I am-
your camera, and I'm gonna hope that it doesn't break all of my beautiful work.
We are in mid-season form.
Because I think what's gonna happen is because you're streaming, you're sharing your screen, and you're on camera. I think that's a little too much for your little internet that could.
I don't think
That's
that
really
you can't hear me at all.
There we go.
Oh, we couldn't hear you for about 2 minutes.
Are you sure you
bud.
can't hear me?
We can hear you now. And now, all right. So,
All
in
right.
the interest
Why
of,
don't you tell us about the articles that you've written, Tony?
Yeah,
And
you know
we'll
what?
figure it out.
Because I think this is a good jumping off point.
Oh,
to talk
for
about
those of you
something.
that don't know, like, I am not a Degenerate Den member yet. So Tony's whole goal this show this season is to turn me into one of you. So enlighten me,
okay.
Tony.
Okay, so earlier before we went on, you had said, "Oh my God, like some of these plays, look at them, like they're so clearly traps to get someone lost in the weeds." I think was your exact
Yeah.
terminology, and that's true. My goal is to get you to see that
Good
not
guy.
all of those plays
Can you hear me?
fall into that category.
Yes.
Okay, let me get back to this call here. Where do I? Oh, here we go. Let's
I
go. I'm
want to.
going to share my screen again.
Okay.
Anyways, the goal is to get you to see that there are some exploitable plays, and if you can take the dollar signs from out of your eyes and just kind of try to do it sensibly,
Mhm.
there's a good way to effectively manage your
You
resources.
just break everything.
No, it's.
I still see the internet.
Hey, it works. The
Okay.
only thing is you have the picture of our D&D
Of Barbara?
Yeah.
I
Barb.
stand by that choice. Okay.
Rest in peace to Barb.
Yeah. R.I.P. Barb.
Nerds.
You were the best.
Nerds.
For those of you who are wondering why I look like what I do, first off, my camera's not working apparently very well, so we had to like improvise. But more importantly, this picture from our D&D game. It is a sign of respect for a character who fell. Her name was Barb. She was a gun-wielding psychopath, and she was delightful.
You know what hurts about this though is that if Twitch is going to be one of those places that prioritizes diversity, you really just kind of fucked this up for all of us.
Yeah.
We're never going to hit the algorithm now.
No.
Oh, is that so? Do we want to try to just throw on the video real quick and see if it works?
I don't know. I think we should just move on with the show, and we could try maybe again later on.
I'm going to hit it just one time, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think it'll be fine now because I'm not downloading anything, and it'll be good. I have faith, okay? So I'm putting the camera on. Can you hear me?
All right.
Yes.
Just be
All right.
prepared to get yelled at when it goes wrong.
The football absurdity way is to be actively downloading something while trying to stream and share your screen. That's classic.
I'm feeling kind of judged right now, all right?
Hey,
Kind of.
This is all love here.
All right, well.
So I want to talk to you about some of the bets that I wrote about for the website. And since you've done so much research and so much algorithming, I want to know what your thoughts are on a couple of these plays. So the first play that I made, the line's actually changed a little bit since I wrote it. Travis Etienne's receiving yards at 21.5. What do you think about the over there?
21.5. So let's take a quick look here at what I've seen. I'm going to go to my spreadsheet. You guys can't see it, but
Patent,
if I'm a smarter person. So Travis Etienne receiving yards. So we're going to look at Jacksonville right over now. And I'm going to say that Jacksonville is kind of a neutral play from a matchup standpoint. So let's look at who's Jacksonville playing here. They're playing Washington. So I want to look at something real quick here. I'm looking at something very specific here.
Doug Peterson, the new coach of the Jaguars, I'm thinking Darren Sproles type role for Travis Etienne. With James Robinson being healthy, I think. In the 5 years that Peterson coached the Eagles, their running backs averaged a total of 100 catches a year. So I think there's a good play here for Etienne to catch at least 4 passes. And to me, that 21.5 seems easily obtainable against Washington's linebackers.
So what I'm going to say here, because my sheet is going to be based on a lot of what Jacksonville did last year, and I think that kind of fucks up the data. What I will say is Washington's pass defense is probably about red zone pass defense. That's not a bad play. It's a neutral play last year with Urban Meyer. Their defense, Washington was just kind of average at that. So taking into account the fact that average and that number's pretty low, 21.5, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that over is a fair play. I have no problem with it. Especially because I don't trust James Robinson in the Achilles. The thing I've been saying, I won't trust it until I see something. We saw Cam Akers do nothing. Granted, last week was against, Darrell Henderson did some things, though. The fact that Cam Akers didn't do anything at all makes me more nervous about James Robinson, whose Achilles happened later.
Right.
So I love the play, honestly.
Okay.
But the new measuring system is neutral on it.
Okay. What do you think about Derrick Henry against the Giants? When I got Henry, it was at 98.5 rushing yards for minus 108. And he is still at 98.5 rushing yards is his line, 108 for the over, minus 122 for the under. It's minus 108 for the over.
So Derrick Henry, I'm trying to find Tennessee on my cheat, which is they're like, from a ranking standpoint, they're a top 10 rushing matchup this week, but they're still kind of like they're in the blob of my system. So I don't hate it, but we're going to look at the rushing total specifically for Tennessee to see how I feel about that. And then I want to look at some of the rushing defensive. What was the total you were looking? Well, give me the line again.
The line is 98.5.
98.5. And they're playing the Giants, right?
Correct. And so last year, the only game where Derrick Henry had less than 20 carries was week 1 against Arizona, which became a blowout so fast the game script really didn't give him a chance.
Also neutral.
But I feel like the Giants defense offers like a repeatable kind of situation there.
Honestly, from a matchup standpoint, it's near the top of the blob. I don't hate it, but there's nothing that says it's a bad or good play. And basically, what you're doing is you're betting on Derrick Henry. What was the rushing total again?
98.5.
I mean, I feel like that's a 50-50 play. Honestly, I don't hate it.
I like the opportunity as someone to get more than 20 rushes, and I think. And I also 20 carries, they win. I think they're going to have game script where they're ahead, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Henry.
I kind of agree with that. Let's look at this real quick. Let me look at my defensive rankings on that game. You know what? I'm going to say it right now. From a win margin standpoint, one of the things I kind of played around with, my number three overall win margin. There are 4 teams that my system really likes to just destroy the team they're playing. And I think we know if Tennessee wins, Derrick Henry eats. So from that point of view, Buffalo was the number 3 team on that metric. And I think we saw what happened. So they were a 5-point rating. That's this is a 5-point scale, 5 being the best. Number 2 is Tennessee. So actually, I'm going to flip back and say I fucking love that play.
So what do we think about building a parlay here with some of these teams? Because we can take Tennessee at 5.5, or we can play the money line.
I don't know. Let's get to that when we go through the teams. Okay. I think we should pencil into lineups that we like and then go from there.
Okay. So do we want to pencil in that ETN play?
Let me see. The ETN play is still kind of neutral for me, but for a parlay build, that Derrick Henry over is something that I actually really like this week.
Okay, so I'll write that down.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try to end the show with a big parlay.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, that's already the plan. Well, it's the
right.
second thing we're going to end on.
All right.
We already know what's going to happen. We got a
true.
game for those of you who are going to tune in. It's going to be a contest that we're going to offer to everyone. We'll have an email. I have an email address you can submit to. We're going to create a channel in the Discord to add up for. I'll get to it later.
Yeah, we'll get there. So a line that I really liked was the under for Miami and New England. So it's in Miami. The point spread the total is supposed to be 46.5. I love the under for this game.
46.5 on Miami. Let's look at that.
Now, the thing that you can't quite quantify on a spreadsheet is the combined incompetence of Joe Judge and Matt Patricia.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the thing. This is the most. I don't know how I feel about this under. You see, I'm trying to figure out this is good at picking who's going to win. This implies that this game is going to be very close, and these defensive matchups between the defensive matchup between New England and Miami is going to be just kind of meh.
So here's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
The Patriots have a severe downgrade at offensive line. And those who listen, some of the hundreds who listen to my podcast will know that one of the most interesting things I found this year was from Warren Sharp, where he said that when the Patriots were running an offensive drive and they had no plays for negative yards and no accepted penalties against them, they scored at the highest rate in the league. When they had a negative play, they dropped to an absurdly low scoring rate. So with bad coaching and a worse offensive line, I think Mac Jones faces a lot more thirds and long. And I think there's a chance this game is, 21-3 in the second quarter, and then it just kind of drones out the rest of the way.
Kind of the way I'm looking at this game and the way I'm kind of interpreting the data I have here, I feel like the underplay is going to be a solid one, honestly, because this feels like a game where. Because one of the things that my defensive margin, my defensive rating is taking into account is also pace of play. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of offensive plays actually run. We know the new Miami offense, they're going off of that Kyle Shanahan style.
Yep.
Controlling. So I actually think the under here is a very strong play. I would mark that down as a potential addition to the parlay later.
Okay. So another one I put on the article was TJ Hawkinson's receiving yards at 47.5. I took the under yards at 47.
TJ Hawkinson 47.5 receiving. Let us see how we feel about that matchup here. Who are they playing?
They're playing the Philadelphia Eagles.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Philadelphia
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Philadelphia. Now, when we're looking at defenses, one of the things that is probably not going to just show up simply because how could it, is that the Eagles, in terms of their secondary, have probably the strongest defensive backs in the league. Probably the strongest. They have James Bradbury.
Green Bay wants to have a word with you.
Well, James Bradbury from New York coming over to play on the other side of Darius Slay, and then the acquisition of C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Saints, I think, is fucking huge.
Well, what I will say here is from a defensive standpoint, this is mainly a neutral play, but I think it likes. I think play. Did we just lose all our cameras?
Nope, fixed it.
Okay.
We got a producer. Let's
Hell
go.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, it's a neutral play, but it's not something I want to add to the parlay. I don't hate that under. I kind of feel like, let me see. Let me look at this matchup real quick to see. Oh, you know what? I definitely like that under. Oh, more. Because from a defense, this is a 4 rating for Philadelphia to just take Detroit on my system.
And Philadelphia, if we're basing this perception of this game at least somewhat on last year's pace of play metrics.
Yeah.
I know the Lions were not a high pace of play team,
Yeah.
and Philadelphia being such a high rushing team, I think that leads to less total plays in this game.
I agree.
So I'll write down that Hawk is in consideration. And then my long shot play of the week was the Bears money line over San Francisco.
I'm going to just say I love it. We're not going to add it to any parlays, but I will definitely be taking that because
Plus
my
250.
homerism will only go so far.
They're plus 250, and George Kittle's not playing, so
Yeah, no, I like that. That's actually a game where I also kind of like that under a little bit. Even though it's a low under, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's start going through the slate of games. We'll work from there. So first game of the week, we got Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The money line here is you get 6.5 basically. So basically, the Steelers need to cover a touchdown to win. Money line is plus 235 on the Steelers side, minus 290 on the Bengals. We got an over 44.5. 44, like the over unders 44.5. Do we have any thoughts on this game?
I think that this game has a chance to hit right. I think this is a game that gets decided by the hook. Like, I could see this being a 44-point game. I think that we're expecting, as a community of fantasy players and gamblers, we're expecting that we're going to see the same Bengals that we saw at the end of the season last year. And I don't think that run was just them going God mode. I don't know if that's just the natural state of the Cincinnati offense. So I don't think they're going to continue to produce at that rate. And divisional matchups tend to be low scoring anyways. When we do the DFS stuff, you're going to see me pretty much out on a lot of players of this game because I think, the Steelers still have a great pass rush and they have good defensive backs, but I don't think anyone in this game is the weekly game breaker for DFS or gambling, to be honest.
So what I'm gonna say right now here, in Soul You Kill, we're gonna get to the Green Bay Minnesota matchup in a little bit. We're gonna go through the slate of games, but I will definitely have some thoughts in a little bit. I'm gonna be honest, like. You kind of have my thoughts. Everything I see here says there's no reason to. God damn it! Sorry, I just got logged out, so I got to log back in. But I have no desire to bet anything of this game. There's nothing that stands out for me.
The Bengals did not start well last year.
Yeah, but I will say that Joe Burrow was coming back from his ACL tear. So I expected a slow start from him, and eventually he balled out. So I do think there's going to be some things that happen there.
And he had an appendectomy this offseason, so that cost him a lot of reps in the preseason too. So I think that he's going to be just fine, but I think people expecting him to show up and play lights out are going to be disappointed.
Okay. So, yep. So basically, do you have any thoughts on this game, Josh?
I actually 100% agree with Tony. I feel like what we witnessed with Cincinnati is them playing at their best possible, like
they got hot.
Yeah, they got really hot, and as we all know, with any modicum of success in sports, you have a lot of guys in the off season that get inflated value because of that success, and so it's hard to sustain that level of success because salary caps exist.
Well, I do think that there's a good chance that Joe Burrow takes another. I think he's got the potential to be fantastic. He's the guy coming out of college who just, like, his one season was so damn good, it's hard not to respect it. Like, he shattered records.
Does Jamar Chase take a step? Though.
No, I think so. I kind of think they all do. But having said that, I want no part of this game. There's no real value here to me. And if we're looking for bets, we want to look for bets where we're going to get value.
And I think Jamar Chase does this year a lot of what Stephon Diggs last year does, where he puts up a great season, but the season before it was just so good that
Yeah.
everyone sees year 2 as a disappointment.
I could definitely see that happen. Last year's going to be hard to top, and I don't think defenses are going to let him just go over the top. They're gonna keep him underneath as much as possible because
So
yeah.
Josh, listen to this. Like, of Jamar Chase had, I think, 40 targets last year that were 20 or more yards downfield,
Okay.
and 8 of those went for touchdowns.
Yeah.
And
Oh my.
of his 40 targets, and I think he only had like 24 catches, he had like 300 yards after the catch. And at a certain point, you wonder how consistently that can be replicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From
100% agree.
From that type of receiver, sure. Like, because you're the reason that you have Jamar Chase on your football team is to be that streak deep threat, right?
Correct.
So versus
I mean,
versus
that's why
somebody
I'm
versus somebody that's like a Cooper
So
Cup.
I'm going to be honest.
That is a
I don't
catch.
want to keep
Right.
talking. I don't want to keep talking about a game that we have no interest in betting, and I
Right.
want to go to the next game where I have a lot of interest in betting.
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions here. We got Eagles at -4.5. Detroit money line is +194. Eagles money line -235, and the over under line is 48.5. And I'm going to tell you right now, everything that my system says based on last year is the Eagles are just a smash play. I like them -4.5. I also want to look in some of the prop bets here because I have a feeling the running back totals here, the Eagles are the best matchup based on last year. And obviously things do change from year to year. Aiden Hutchinson might make that defense a little bit better, but it's hard. I really want to see some of the rushing and receiving props. But the rushing props is what I really am interested in
For the Eagles?
for the Eagles.
Well, you've
Because
got
like Miles Sanders, the over under on rushing total is 47.5. Jalen Hurts 46.5. Kenneth Gainwell 19.5. I feel like all three of those overs are smash plays.
Wow. Which one do you feel most confident about?
If I'm being
For me,
honest with
Hurts.
myself, it's probably the Jalen Hurts over.
Yeah, I like that too.
The reason for that is like my big problem with the Eagles is efficient as they were running the football, they were frustrating as hell to figure out which running back they were going to rely on.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is, let's see. I want to look at some of the unders here because I have a feeling. Let's see. Nope, that's not going to hit. Well, let's see. Actually, the other thing though, the other play here, the Eagles are for receiving yards, and especially like that matchup is like one of the worst rated matchups I have this week. So I really want to look at some of these receiving totals, but I think mark down that Jalen Hurts
It's marked.
over at 46.5. And I want to see some of the unders for these receiving totals. Because AJ, honestly, I kind of like the under on AJ Brown at 65.5.
You're breaking my heart, dude.
I love AJ Brown, but they're going to run the ball down Detroit's throats. And Detroit actually did not give up a lot of receiving yards to receivers this last year. So looking at that metric, if we think that they're going to just run the ball and it's not going to be a high scoring game because it is going to be all about running, I think Detroit's going to lean on DeAndre Swift. I kind of also like the under here. And I think that's a nice little same game parlay, especially the under at 65.5 at +100. And here's the truth. Jalen Hurts, I still don't know that he can complete a 10-yard pass.
So we could have a four-person same game parlay.
Yeah.
Here. So under 65.5. I mean, I'm gonna trust you with it. I really am. And so it looks like so far this game is our like money game right now. So
yeah,
let's keep that and let's move on to the next one so we can get through this whole slate because damn, there's a lot of games this week.
Yes, there are. Let's get back. Let's get back here.
Colts and Texans this week. The line is Colts giving 7.5. Their money line for Houston for the upset is +270, and our total points is 45.5.
So let's see from my defensive metric standpoint, I'm going to tell you right now. Oh, you know what? I thought Indy would be a lot higher on this. I really thought Indy was going to blow them out, and they're just kind of into blob here. But let's see if Indy has any other good plays. Because here's the thing: unders on anything Houston is probably going to be a good play. I don't see. Yeah, there are two rating from the tight end standpoint. I don't even know who their tight end is. If there's anything on him, I'd be interested though. From a wide
O.J.
receiver
Howard.
standpoint, huh?
O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard. Good God. I want to see those lines. I'm looking at, so I don't like the line over under here at all for this game. And I don't know why. You know what? Divisional game and my metrics don't show any clear favorite. 45 over under. I mean, I could definitely see that being an underplay, but I could also see the Colts just putting up 40 on the Texans and just completely obliterating them.
Same.
I'm not feeling anything on that line, but I think from but the one thing I do know, the rushing totals, the player props for rushing and receiving, I think because let's look at the unders. Let's look at the unders for the receiving totals here for the Houston Texans here. So Brandon Cooks at 58.5. That line is too low for me to feel comfortable because he's the only guy they're going to get anything at.
I agree.
Let's see at the rushing props though, because I think that's where it's going to be.
They've got Taylor at 99.5.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Taylor. I told you that my number one play was Philadelphia. It's kind of a half truth because the Colts were tied from a rushing total standpoint.
Okay.
I don't know that I want to take the rushing.
You paused your screen.
I paused my screen.
Yeah, anytime you leave that window, it's gonna pause your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Production right there. You just been produced.
Hold on.
Oh man, can
Let me get back here.
Can we get a producer?
Oh, it came back.
Wait, we can.
It's back. It's back.
Yeah, we got it.
It's back. Okay. So anytime I leave, I've been leaving the entire time.
Yep.
And has it been doing that?
It pauses your stream as long as you're aware of it, so that you know.
Use it skillfully.
Okay. So basically, the rushing under here for Damien Pierce, I love at 48.5 because that's a negative rating too. Like it's a 2 on my 5-point scale. It's not the worst matchup, but it's one of the worst matchups of the week. And I'm looking at the rushing prop, but I'm going to be honest, I kind of want to look at the rushing and receiving totals here. And I'd rather just take the over under, like I'd rather take the under or the over on Jonathan Taylor at 119.5. You know what? I don't know if I do. Although I think I do because I feel like the 119.5 might be a little bit of a safer play, if that makes any sense. Because he's going to get some rushing, he's going to get some receiving, but if you get the combined, I feel like he's putting up 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Where do you find combined receiving and rushing?
If you look at the rushing props, you can look player rushing plus receiving yards right under it on the matchup.
Okay.
Like, I'm leaning more towards that, and I kind of want to look at the TD scoring bets because this is such a good matchup. I would have taken touchdowns on the Eagles if I had a better feeling for who was going to score them, but I kind of want to go. I would like to do a 2-touchdown score at plus 240 for Jonathan Taylor because I think if he goes off, he's going to go off, and I'm not going to take the minus 230 for an anytime touchdown scorer because I feel like that's kind of a waste.
Yeah. So, do we want the Taylor combined rushing and receiving at 119.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I like, but you can make a case for just a rushing total. But I want to combine that with the 2 anytime touchdowns.
That's nuts.
I mean, those are bets that I'm looking at. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to make them. Okay. I'll be honest, I'm going to look at my favorite 5, but I have a feeling that the Jonathan Taylor ones are going to be games that I absolutely smash. Okay. Because like Jonathan Taylor, it's just the matchup is he's got the best matchup of the week, and he was the best running back last year in fantasy football. So that just tells me that like you just ride it and hope that you're right.
Okay. So what do we think Saints Falcons here?
Saints Falcons. What I think.
Saints are 5.5-point favorites. The money line for the upset for the Falcons is plus 198, and the line is at 42.5.
So what I'm going to say here is this is my number, like, Buffalo. I told you Tennessee was number 2. Buffalo was number 3. My fourth 5-point rating of the week is New Orleans against Atlanta, which should surprise no one because let's be honest, they should smash. I'm going to be kind of curious to see some of the unders here because I have a feeling Atlanta is going to be here a lot on some of this. I'm looking real quick through it here. Honestly, a lot of neutral plays on Atlanta, except for running. So I would look at some of the rushing unders. And I'm looking for prop bets, but there's not really anything favoring an over-under. So I'm taking New Orleans at minus 5.5 here. I don't know if I'm feeling the over-under. I think this one I feel kind of good about, but the thing I really want to look at is the rushing unders for the Falcons.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling there's going to be some real value here. Yeah. Oh, you know what?
No,
there isn't.
There's no value here.
Yeah, Cordero 29.5. It's not worth it, even as bad as they might be. Right. So yeah, I think I'm just taking the Saints here. That's one I feel good about, but that's the only thing I feel good about in this game.
Okay. So then let's move on. Let's not even worry about it. Let's talk Ravens Jets.
And I feel like that's something we want to point out, guys. Is you don't want to just jump in like you don't have to like every bet. But it's a good point to just look through everything and see where the value is. I'm very curious to see if my system is going to work here. So let's see, Baltimore Jets. Oh, what is that? My number 1 matchup of the week? Yeah, Baltimore is a smash play. I love Baltimore at 6.5.
So yeah, Ravens line they're given 6.5 points. The money line for a Jets upset is plus 250, and the total is 44.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the over, and I'm taking the because that line is a little bit low. I don't know actually. It could be an underplay, but this looks like it's going to be the biggest blowout, and that line is low enough that I kind of like the over here. But let's look at it over here. So tight end play. Baltimore is the number 2 ranked for running for tight end and for wide receiver on my system. Now, this is going to be a little bit flawed, but here's the other thing, too. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Wide receivers, they're just a 4-point ranking, which means that Bateman might be a nice little play if we get, a good, over-under on him. But the Jets, actually, from a tight end standpoint, they have a 5-point rating. So there might be a nice little sneaky play there. We're going to look at that in DFS a little bit later. But there's a lot in this game that likes the Jets rushing totals, the under on that could be interesting because they got a 2 points out of 5. It's not a good rushing matchup. Whereas Baltimore's rushing total is it's my number 3 after Philly and Indy, which are tied for first. Then there's Baltimore, the last of my 5-point rating for rushing totals.
Well, no, there are no lines listed for running backs for Baltimore. All you have is Lamar at 9.5.
For rushing?
Yep.
9.5 rushing yards for Lamar?
59.5.
Oh, I was going to say, I'll be honest. Let me look at something real quick because I didn't finish up all of my... I didn't get everything here for the quarterback, but I have a feeling if I look at this... You know what? I don't know if I'm going to go Baltimore 9. I'm not going to take that total, but I might go for a Lamar Jackson rushing touchdown. I think that might be the real play. But I want to look at the tight end, the receiving props here for this game, because I think that's where it could be interesting.
Andrews is 67.5.
And Bateman is at 49.5. I think both of those overs are very interesting plays. I also think the unders. Look at the rushing props real quick. I want to see if the unders are a good play here for Carter, Breece Hall. Those lines are too low for it to be worthwhile.
Yep. Sub 40 rushing yard lines for running backs are not something I like to play.
No, there's no point to it. But I think Mark Andrews at 67.5 and Rashad Bateman at 49.5. Those overs are interesting. The play is good, but I think I'd rather save those for DFS.
Yeah, those plays don't
because
scream value to me.
there's so much here, and the rushing prop is kind of high. So what I'm looking at, I think more than anything, is going to be TD score props.
Yep, okay.
Because they're going to have value. I think that offense is going to roll all over them. I'm looking at let's see, Mark Andrews at plus 110, Lamar Jackson at plus 125, and Rashad Bateman at 220. I think I'm throwing a bet on all three of those because I'm getting plus money, and I think one of those is going to come through.
Okay. All right, so. Damn, we tied in the poll, Waleed.
What do you mean we tied in the poll?
Who will win the most bets this week? Tony versus Waleed. We each ended up with 0 votes.
Oh,
So let's move on to the Patriots-Dolphins game. The line's 3.5 in favor of the Dolphins. A Patriots upset is plus 150, and our total, as we mentioned earlier, is 46.5.
and you liked the under on this game, and I
love
feel you on that. I also, do you like that Patriots money line? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't know that everything that I have on this game is very neutral. So I don't mind the under, but I don't really want to touch anything in this game.
I don't either because I think it's tough to bet against Belichick with a rookie coach.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, I still, as much as I want to believe, I haven't seen anything that would show me that Tua's taken the next step.
That makes sense. So this next game is going to be interesting because I can already tell you by metrics are not going to like anything here for both of these teams because Cleveland and Carolina were both pretty mediocre. But one thing I do kind of like that I'm fascinated by is the Baker revenge game. And Cleveland being a mess.
So Cleveland are 1.5 point favorites. Neither team has plus odds on the money line. The Browns are minus 112, Carolina's minus 104, and the total's 41.5.
Yeah, and really the thing that sticks out to me the most is the tight end totals for Carolina and Cleveland are both a one ranking. So if those lines are high enough, like receiving or rushing yards, they're worth looking. Receiver lines, they have the worst rankings. They're tied for the worst. So the receivers all are getting terrible looks. The running backs are it's still neutral, but they don't have anything. But they don't have anything that's worth investing in. So I don't want to touch anything, but I do kind of want to take Cleveland, mainly because I think Baker Mayfield wants to destroy this team.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about our hometown Bears.
49ers Chicago. So where I'm at here is very simple. It's I kind of want to take a Bears money line, and I will. And I don't give a shit about metrics. I'm just going to bet on my team. But from a matchup standpoint, it's kind of a neutral game, which makes me want to take the under a little bit, except that the line is so low, I don't think there's any real value in it.
Right. So it's a 6.5 point line in favor of the visiting 49ers. The Bears money line is plus 250 and the total is 40.5.
Yeah, because the tight end line here, the Bears have a terrible matchup here. We don't even know if Kittle's going to play, so there's no point in looking at that. The receiver line, Chicago also has a pretty bad ranking here, and San Francisco is not much better. The running back line, all kind of neutral plays. There's nothing I like here. I might take a money line play for the Bears, and it's going to be a pure homer play.
All right.
And that's okay. And Josh, is there anything, because we've been going through these, is there anything you want to jump in on?
Not yet. I don't want to go against the almighty metrics yet.
Well, yeah, we don't know that the metrics are almighty yet. Let's be fair.
No. In week 2, I'll let you know exactly how I feel about your metrics. But I'm
okay.
I'll bow down to Skynet for this week, Waleed, and we'll see.
That's fair.
How do we feel this Jacksonville Commanders game? Washington's getting 2.5 points. A Jacksonville upset would be plus 130, and the line is 43.5.
Honestly, this is one of the things where I don't know how I can trust my metrics on Jacksonville because Jacksonville was so broken under Urban Meyer, and both of these teams just kind of suck from a matchup standpoint. If I looked at the matchup says it's kind of neutral. It might lean towards an under. but I don't feel strongly enough about this game to make any choices.
Okay.
So let me see. I don't think there was anything that looked good in this game from any of the positions. I'm just taking a quick look here. Yeah, pretty much everything is just neutral. There's nothing that favors these teams.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just gonna pass. Did you have any feelings about this game?
I had the ETN receiving yards prop,
Which I like.
but nobody else really jumped out to me, to be honest.
No
so
McLaurin, no McLaurin interest.
I don't want to put money on a McLaurin receiving line until I see who Wentz is looking at on a given play.
Yeah,
That's fair.
To me, like, one of the reasons why people are saying buy low on Allen Robinson right now, and I'm not going to buy low on Allen Robinson right now, is because of the amount of times I watch Stafford drop back and not look at him at all.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. And so if I see Wentz looking consistently at Terry, then yeah, as long as those lines are smashed, but not yet. So let's do Raiders Chargers.
Yeah, because this game looks fun.
Chargers are favored 3.5. A Raiders money line is plus 152, and the total is a rockin' ass 52.5. Let's fucking go.
All right, now you got my attention, because guess what, guys? I'm putting it out there. I'm an Austin Eckler apologist. Let's look at the rushing line on this one here, Tony.
All right. I see Austin Eckler at 60.5 rushing yards.
Oh, we
now
this is a neutral play. I don't have a problem with it. There's nothing that says yes or no for me. And I'll be honest, like 60 plus yards for Austin Eckler seems pretty fair.
Well, how about this?
What's his receiving line?
Austin Eckler's combined rushing and receiving yards is 97.5.
97.5? That's an interesting one. Here's the line that actually catches my eye, just based on last year. Derek Carr, 268.5 is his passing yards. That was one of the most broken bets last year because he was always under 300 yards, but he throws for 300 yards a lot.
And J.C. Jackson is not playing this week.
Ooh. And I think the Chargers, let me see what the Chargers' pass defense was here.
Well, they did add Khalil Mack, and Derwin James is healthy. Those are two difference makers.
Yeah, but is Khalil Mack on a contract year? Because if not, then
nope. I mean, he signed a 3-year deal, I think.
Well, then he's gonna be crap for 2 of those.
I like that. I like the over on that Derek Carr passing yards. I kind of like what would you say the rushing receiving total was? 98.5.
I'm gonna take the over on my boy Austin. I feel like he's gonna come back.
I like that bet.
I mean, you can mark it down, but I'm gonna be honest. I kind of I'm not sure how I feel about it. I like the over on the rushing total a lot more than I like the rushing plus receiving total.
I'm willing to ride with that.
I think the rushing total is a little bit of a safer play because I think he'll get 61 rushing yards. A total of 98 combined yards. I feel, you know what? Yeah, I think I'd rather take the chance on the 60 yards.
Okay, so...
Because I could see a lot of the receiving yards going to, like, one of the new guys.
We're betting this game in honor of producer Josh and off the grid Ryan, because Ryan is a huge Derek Carr mark this year. So
really,
yep.
So we like that over under receiving. Okay, since I'm gonna definitely like zero in on that because I was liking it, but if Ryan's in, I'm gonna love it now, and we're gonna roll with that for sure.
Yeah, and
I just want to get Austin Eckler on the show. I know he's a huge Twitch guy, so
that'd be awesome.
I'm here for it.
We love you.
All right, we got the Giants at Tennessee here. Let me see this because I think this game really favored Tennessee, if I remember.
So Tennessee's got 5.5 on New York. The New York money line for an upset's plus 210, and our total is 43.5.
Yeah, so this is a plus. Yeah, this is the 5 ranking for Tennessee. Like Tennessee should destroy them. But my problem with that metric too is the Giants are a completely different team, and we all know Joe Judge was garbage. which makes me a little nervous. I don't know that I want to take the 5.5. I don't know that I want to take the over under. I do kind of want to look at some of these prop lines because I have a
So,
feeling.
so as you'll see in our spreadsheet that we wrote, my favorite $10 bet for this week is a rushing spread from this game, and it's not Derrick Henry. It's Saquon Barkley over 55.5.
And like, if we went on last year's metrics, that would be the worst play. Like, but I think we have to take into account all the additions to the Giants' offensive line. And I think that's the reason why Saquon's numbers are so low. Year the ACL. So I'll be honest, I do kind of like that. What is the Derrick Henry rushing line?
98.5.
I'll be honest, I think we already talked about that earlier that I liked that.
Extensively.
And actually, I kind of like the idea of combining like a two-man parlay of Saquon and Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Like along with an anytime touchdown. Like that four-man same-game parlay could be a really fun one.
Okay.
Who are you giving the anytime
Because I feel like both
touchdowns
of them will get touchdowns.
Yeah,
Oh,
who's
If
getting
Saquon hits
touchdowns?
55.5 yards, I think he has at least one touchdown.
So you're saying that you're putting us on Henry and Saquon to hit their rushing overs and both to score.
Yes. That might be my parlay. That might be one of my parlays at the end of this show.
See, I'm not confident for Saquon to score.
I agree. I think it'd be easier. I think it's for if we did a 4 or a 3 leg instead of a 4 leg.
And take out the Saquon. I'm done with that.
I think that greatly increases our chances of hitting.
I think so too.
Okay.
Even though that's probably also going to. What are the odds actually? I feel like that's going to lower them a lot. Because we're not going to get a plus total out of the Derrick Henry touchdown, are we?
Well, let's find out. So Henry's over, Saquon's over. TD scorer props.
Yeah.
Anytime Henry. So that would be.
Yeah. It's still going to be a plus bets.
That'd be plus 419 for the 3.
You know what? I'm fine with that, actually. You don't need to get greedy.
I agree.
I'm helping.
You're greatly helping.
I appreciate that. No, we need a guy who's like, is that really necessary? I think Josh is going to be our conscience this entire season.
I love it. Okay, so let's note that 3-man parlay right there, and then let's move on. Let's do a game with another high total. So you got the Chiefs at the Cardinals. The Chiefs are getting 5.5. Cardinals are plus 210 for the upset, and the line is 53.5.
Ooh. So I'm looking at this. I believe this line in general was not really like anything fancy here. Yeah, it doesn't. It's a neutral game for me. I could definitely see it hitting some overs though, because the receiving and rushing totals, like for like Kansas City, are pretty strong. Those are a little bit neutral.
The question that I have is there any weapon on Kansas City besides Kelsey that is,
Well, that's going to be the question. That's everyone's question.
Well, that is worth, like,
I'm not putting money on it. The only thing that I felt comfortable about in terms of plays here is actually the Patrick Mahomes rushing prop at 17.5.
Oh, that's like
Interesting.
That's like one.
Because we're actually we're on opposite sides on this a little bit. Not that I hate the Patrick Mahomes rushing prop. It's that I kind of prefer the Kyler Murray rushing prop.
So hear me out.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes led the league last year in
Hold
scrambles.
on, before you continue, what's the Kyler Murray rushing prop? What is it?
36.5.
Okay.
So Mahomes led the league last year. He had over 400 yards on scramble plays. Now, he's not going to have designed runs just because that's not what they do, but I'm thinking there's going to be an increased level of coverage on Travis Kelce without Tyler, and I think Mahomes finds himself scrambling a little bit more this week. So I like the idea of a quarterback who's lost his second best weapon, who's already a devoted scrambler, hitting a pretty low rushing line.
Yeah,
So
that's
here's why.
that's three
And,
scrambles in
Right.
to me. Like,
and here's why I'm looking at that Kyler Murray rushing over, and I also am going to combine that with at least one touchdown. If I had a couple things that I used my spreadsheet on for the Thursday night game. One of them was the Josh Allen rushing total, which came in a big way. I got my touchdown. I actually did an adjusted money line at over 40. Uh, that was like the best play I think from a rushing standpoint. Um, Kyler Murray actually has a better matchup than Josh Allen did from a rushing standpoint this week, based on last year.
I worry with all the additions that Kansas City made on defense. Like George Karlaftis, I think is the real deal coming off the edge. So that depending on how you look at it, that could be good or bad for Kyler's rushing prop. I'm not against it. I like the Mahomes one a little bit more, but I think both of these plays are interesting.
Yeah, well, the Kyler Murray one is one of the things I'm going to be staking a claim in. He's like, spoiler alert on DFS, he's going to be one of my number one plays this week. And that's about it, I think, on this game.
Okay.
So let's get on to the next game. What I know Stole You Kill was asking about. Let's take a look.
Goes out to Stole You Kill.
Yeah. Sorry, this was at the bottom of the list. I know you were interested in the Packers versus the Vikings and Justin Jefferson. So we're huh?
I hope he's still here. He or she or they.
Yeah. I don't know.
So the line is 1.5 in favor of Green Bay. Neither team has plus odds for the money line, and the line is 46.5. Vegas thinks the game's going to be pretty close.
This game looks like it's going to be I like this game a lot in favor of Green Bay. I mean, the interesting thing is if Lazard isn't in, based on last year, Green Bay is their wide receiver numbers. It has a 5 ranking for me. Like their wide receivers should do really well this year, this week, from a matchup standpoint.
I do have a favorite play this week for receiving yards in the Green Bay game.
Ooh, what is that?
Randall Cobb.
Interesting.
I mean, with the evacuation of Adams, right? Those targets have to go somewhere,
and there's no Lazard.
And Cobb's been with Rodgers the longest. I don't hate it, Tony.
It's a play that makes logical sense because Aaron Rodgers is the type of dude that like plays the game a certain way. You know what I mean? He's totally the type of dude that's like, oh yeah, well I'm just gonna throw to the guy I know best.
Yeah, so when I'm looking at the minutes, I'm looking at
right.
Stole You Kills. What did I say? I'm looking at his question. Minnesota's kind of a neutral play from a receiver standpoint. Having said that, I do like Justin Jefferson because he is the best receiver in football. So I will take that play on him. I don't know that I'll take his over on receiving yards because 82.5 is a big number against what I predict to be the best secondary in football. One of the best defenses this year.
I do want to say I'm not high on Jefferson this week, but I am high on Jefferson in general because, like you said, he's the best wide receiver in football. And then at the same time, Minnesota's going from one of the slowest paces of play to being run by an offensive mind that comes from the Rams, one of the fastest pace of play teams in football. So I think I'm bullish on all the Vikings offensive skill position players because they're just going to be running more plays than ever.
So here are the things that because the Green Bay matchup from rushing is got a really good marks for me here. And let me look at this real quick because I want to make sure I had that right. Yeah, they're a +4 and they're a +5 from a receiving standpoint, which makes me really want to look at the receiving totals. The overs for AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones's over is 37.5 receiving yards. AJ Dillon 14.5. No Alan Lazard. I kind of feel like both of those are smash plays. I'm also going to be very curious to see what the rushing and receiving totals for both of them will be if they have them. Let me see that real quick.
Yeah,
They don't have a combined rushing and receiving for both of these guys.
Nope.
But I think the receiving plays the AJ Dillon 52.5 and 48.5 rushing totals. Those overs look really interesting to me, but I think I'd rather stick with the receiving plays in this game.
I like both Jones and Dillon's receiving plays.
Yeah. I feel like one of them is going to hit, and I think there's a good chance both of them hits, just based on game plan. All right.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, in season long, Stole Your Kill, if you're still here, like, Justin Jefferson's going to find a way to produce because he's Justin fucking Jefferson. But
Yep.
I don't want him in DFS this week, and I don't want to be putting money on him in terms of betting lines because the matchup is just not a smash matchup.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 more games left. This is our Sunday night game. We've got the Bucks as 2.5-point favorites over the Cowboys. A Cowboys upset money line would be plus 128, and our line is 50.5.
So my metric based on last year, my metrics are basically saying from a money line over under, I'm not touching this game.
Me neither.
From the receiving totals though, good
Yeah.
God, do we love both Bucks Cowboys receivers this week?
So-
We got a 5-match ranking there, actually, and tight ends. It seems like.
I love betting this year for receivers. I'm going to be betting against Trayvon Diggs as often as possible.
Against him?
Yes, because Trayvon Diggs gets the most interceptions because he's targeted so much because he's always getting toasted.
Interesting. I love that. So the one thing too, Tom Brady is just like he's a beast this week. He really is. He might end up he's after Kyler Murray and Tom Brady based on last year. So I kind of looking at this honestly, I think this over 50.5. I think this is going to be a shootout.
Okay.
I don't know who to pick. My gut tells me to go with Tampa, but I don't know that I feel it enough to bet that. From a passing props, receiving yards, the passing prop yards here. You know what? Yeah, that over for Tom Brady at 274.5 seems like a pretty safe bet.
I worry with the offensive line troubles in Tampa.
Yeah, I could see that. A lot of these, yeah. Mike Evans at 66.5 feels like a pretty safe bet.
It does, especially because he's most likely going to be followed by Diggs.
Yeah. And from a rushing prop, I don't know that I feel anything in this game from a rushing standpoint.
I don't.
It's all receiving for me. Yeah. I think that Mike Evans over is interesting, but I don't know that I'm going to bet it. But I do think I'll take the over on this game.
So let's talk about our Monday night massacre where Russell Wilson returns to Seattle. Broncos are favored by 6.5. If you're crazy enough to put money on the Seahawks, you get a plus 220 on the money line, and our total points is 44.5.
You can just set your money on fire if you're making that bet. I'll tell you that right now.
What do the sheets say?
Well, that's a good question. I'm trying to get to that game. Where am I here? I went too... Yeah. Oh, there we go. I went too far away here. So 44.5 under. I kind of feel like this is absolutely an underplay.
Do you? Because I also can see if you're going to say I have faith in Baker Mayfield trying to light up his old team, I think there's just as much of that narrative here with Russ going back to Seattle.
Yeah, the difference is actually from a defensive margin. I lied. I'm absolutely taking the points for Denver. This is a 4 rating for me. Actually, this is also a 4 rating for I totally missed that. My number this is the number 5 pick, Green Bay. That money line really favors Green Bay, so I kind of like that play too.
Okay.
Looking at Seattle, is there anything worth taking here? Let's see. Ugh. Yeah, under on tight end receiving yards looks like a good play. Under on
There are no props for tight ends in this game.
What about receivers for Seattle?
Seattle, we only have Metcalf and Lockett. Metcalf's is 57.5 and Lockett is 49.5.
I kind of like the under on the Lockett.
I do too.
Just lock Waleed in for that the entire season, pretty much.
Yeah, Waleed hates Tyler Lockett, notably.
It's not even that. Not even that. Last year, Geno Smith did not do anything with Tyler Lockett. Like, DK might get targeted. I feel like Lockett will get ignored, and the receiver matchup is the worst ranking, like, of all the teams against Denver.
DK's numbers last year were better with Geno than they were with Russ.
Yeah, but they were also playing three of the worst passing defenses in football. So, yeah, that's I feel like that covers it. So I want to go back to some of those bets that we were saying because I didn't I did terribly for my top 5 bets for the week here.
I got them. So let's read them back. All right.
Okay.
So some of the ones that we agreed on as hot plays are Kyler Murray's 36.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I'm taking that over. I'm smashing. I am absolutely smashing that over.
I'm going to put a check next to that as one that we're going to do. We have the Derrick Henry over 98.5, Saquon over 55.5, and an anytime touchdown for Derrick Henry.
That's a parlay. That's a same game parlay that I think I will absolutely be placing.
Okay.
So we can mark that down as my parlay of the week.
Okay. POTY, parlay of the week. We have the Miami Patriots game going under 46.5. We have Denver Denver minus 6.5. Is that a smash? Is that one that
that's going to be one of my smash plays too? Absolutely.
Okay. Just let me know if one of these is your smash play. We've got Eagles at minus 4.5 over Detroit. We have Jalen Hurts at 46.5 rushing yards.
I'm taking that. That's another smash for me.
Okay. We have AJ Brown under 65.5 rushing yards.
Not going to do receiving. Yeah, we're not going to do that one.
We have Damien Pierce under 48.5 rushing yards against Colts.
I'm not going to take that, but I like it.
We have the Jonathan Taylor combined rushing and receiving of 119.5 plus 2 anytime touchdowns.
That's a second parlay I might end up taking, but for one of my smash plays, that's going to be one like the over under Jonathan Taylor rushing touchdowns is definitely a play I'm going to make, or not the rushing yards, the rushing and receiving total.
So we have the Saints minus 5.5 over the Falcons. We have the Ravens at 6.5 over the Jets and over the total of 44.5. We have Cleveland covering 1.5.
That Baltimore covering is going to be another smash play for me.
Okay.
And that's actually going to, I'll save that for later.
We have Cleveland minus 1.5 over the Panthers.
Cleveland minus 1.5 for the Panthers. I'm going to bet it probably on my own, but I'm not going to do it for the show.
We have Aaron Jones over 37.5 receiving yards and AJ Dillon over 14.5 receiving yards.
I'm going to do the over on the AJ Dillon, and I think I'll have hit my 5 with that, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that is 5. But let's go through the other one.
Yeah.
No, we have 6. We're at 6 right now.
Ooh.
Tampa Bay and Dallas, you have over 50.5.
I do like that play.
We have over Carr 268.5 passing yards.
I do like that also.
And then we have Eckler over 60.5 rushing.
I definitely like that. And we know that's going to be one of Josh's top 5.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plays right here that we like a lot.
Yeah.
So do we want to do all 8 or do we want to whittle it down to 5?
Well, I mean, we each get to pick our favorite bets of the week. I'm going to keep my 5, even though I have 6, I'm going to keep all 6 of them.
Okay. So my official bet of the week then is going to be the Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry.
For the Millionaire Challenge?
Yes.
Or we just huh?
Yes.
Okay, so before we even get to that, guys, so we're gonna have an interactive contest. I'm gonna be setting up the email and a Discord. We're calling it the Millionaire Challenge. We're gonna keep a log for everyone to participate in this contest. And what you do is you make a $10 bet. You don't have to actually bet money, but you have to pick a bet of the week, and we're gonna see most money by the end of the year. You can do any kind of bet. You want to do a parlay, you can. And here's the rules. If you win, you can either with money and make another bet to see and to keep going, or you have to double up. You can't bet some of your money. It's either double up or nothing. It's called the Millionaire Challenge because if you double up 18 times in a row and you win, you'll be a millionaire. We're going to see who can make the most money being right this year. My boy Tony is going hard. Like he wants to be a millionaire by week 10 based on this parlay. So what is the bet here? Like let's go over your bet again.
Okay, so my bet for $10 is going to be Derrick Henry to hit the over for 98.5. It's going to be to hit Barkley's over at 55.5, and a Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. And if I put $10 on this parlay right now, which I'm going to, I will be up 41.92.
Ooh,
So
good
those
God.
odds are plus 419. So my total payout would be $50.
You're tempting me to do that myself. But I'm not going to do a parlay. I'm going to be smooth and smart with this. And my bet's going to be my bet of the week is going to be Baltimore covering. So
with the over?
no, just one bet. I'm not doing parlays for the Millionaire Challenge. I'd rather like hedge my bets and try to win the game. Baltimore is my favorite like game of the week here. Like it's a smash, and frankly, I've already said it. I think that Baltimore's going to be the Super Bowl team this year. I'm going to bet on Lamar Jackson just balling out, and the Jets have a lot of question marks.
All right. So we have our bets of the week. Josh, do you have a bet of the week?
I think I'm gonna go. As much as I love my boy Austin Eckler, I feel like
Ooh.
I feel like I'm really liking that rushing total for Mahomes. I think.
Oh, the over?
7.5.
Yeah.
That's a great bet. I thought for sure you were going to go Homer, but I actually think the Mahomes play is the smarter, safer play. So I a lot of respect, Josh.
Yeah.
All right. So we, as a show, are going to recommend these 3 bets as our bets of the week.
Yeah.
And
we're going to post about it in our Discord.
And do me a favor, Tony. Can you calculate how much I would be up?
Yeah, because I'm going to put the bet in. I'm putting the bets in for all 3 of us because I have that public educator salary.
Hey.
So he's got it. This is his investment. This is his retirement plan.
Yeah, I'm digging into my 401k here. Sorry,
You're in Illinois. It's protected, right? No,
it is. It is. It's protected against gambling. Let me pull it up here. So Waleed's $10 bet on the Ravens at 6.5 would net him $18.70 back. My $10 wager would be $51.92 in return, and then your was also at -114, so $18.77 would pay out.
Hey, you know what? We're building.
That's what we do, baby. So we've gone game by game. So I think our DFS show is going to be pretty quick because we've already covered in depth a lot of these games.
Yep, I think so too. So we're going to take a 10-minute break here. And then we're going to get back to the DFS show, and we're going to crank out what we think the best plays are. We're going to put together some lineups. We're going to get into the kicker lineups, which is where our money has been made. Guys, this is a show for those of you who stuck around, and I know it wasn't a lot of you, the kicker lineups is where, like last year, 94.5% return on our investments using kicker lineups. So I feel like this is a play that's going to do well for us. And on that note, let's go to break.
Okay. Stick around. We'll see you soon.
All right. Let me see if there's a way to go on break. Here. Let me see.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Can
don't.
you turn off the sound so they can't hear us, or it doesn't matter if they can or not?
Mm, these are all fantastic questions.
That we will figure out at some point, right?
Here, what I'll do is I'll run an ad break real quick, and
Hell yeah. Get
maybe
advertisements.
and maybe give.
I feel like the stuff I've been working on is going to be a little bit stronger for the DFS stuff than it will be for the gambling metrics.
I got the spreadsheet out. I gotta change my shit here. I can update the spreadsheet real quick.
Oh, I actually can do it. What we'll do is do this.
Oh man, does this? I want to
Lead of what? What am I in lead of?
Oh, just let them know that we're back and start talking for a little bit. Just fam.
Okay. Are we back? Is that a thing?
I'm gonna say, yeah, we're back. I'm sending out a message right now in the Discord.
We are unmuted and we are live.
Oh. This is my usual, like, we're back, but I'm not back, where I turn into Garth Algar from Wayne's World 1, where he's like, I'm having a good time. Not. Welcome back. This is DFS for Cheapskates. Now we have transitioned over. We're going to be applying a lot of what we talked about in the last hour to this. It's important for us to recognize our successes, so let's start with that. Last year, we ended up we were plus 200 by the end of the year.
We had I'll break it down. We had a 94.5% return on our investment on kicker lineups. Because of the success of my metrics for doing lineups, I've worked on a system all season to try to implement that into the DFS shows that we're doing now for all positions to find out like significant matchup like advantages that we'll have. So we'll see if the metric applies. It will or it won't. I think the kickers will still be good. I'm feeling pretty confident about a lot of the stuff I'm doing though. So this could be very profitable. We might be cheapskates at the beginning here, but I don't anticipate us being cheapskates for long. So guys, welcome to DFS for Cheapskates.
Soon to be. This is our last year as Cheapskates because next year will be DFS for rich little boys.
Yeah, we will be using 5 monocle rating system on how good we like this.
And executive producer Josh will have an executive producer who Mr. P.
I that's what I'm here for. You know, I'm playing a long game.
And we're working so that we can outsource this. So next year we'll just pay people to do it for us with our money that we've made. So we usually last year we went back and forth between what do we start with, and we love the 3-man challenge. So for those that are new this year, the pick 3 challenge is a 3-player super flex, any position. You just play 3 guys, and whoever has the highest amount. I mean, there's 1 MVP and 2 super flex, so you can play 3 quarterbacks, 3 whatever, and it's a pretty small scale tournament. It's a $3 entry, and there's only 793 entries. So what we tried to do last year was we tried to smash as many cheap quarterbacks as we could, because for $7 and 3 players, you need to find value at $2. $1 useless.
Okay. So last year at the beginning, and they fixed what was broken. You could get like $1 quarterbacks, and that completely screwed up the system.
And so this year, for week 1, I have only identified 2 starting quarterbacks that are $2 plays. So, Waleed, let me tell you who they are. We've got Jacoby Brissett against the Carolina Panthers. And then we have Mitchell Trubisky against the Cincinnati Bengals. Do you have any interest at $2 for Trubisky or Brissett?
Well, I will tell you right now, Brissett is a terrible play. Like, he's got a 1-point rating on my new quarterback system. Trubisky is kind of a neutral play, which makes me a little bit more intrigued by him. He's not a good play, but he's not necessarily a terrible play. And he is a quarterback. And who are they playing again?
They're playing Carolina.
Trubisky?
No, they're playing Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. You know what? Divisional game, I think that could be something that like is either a blowout or isn't. I would throw $2 on him because I think there's going to be some value there.
Okay.
So for my own edification, these are 3 quarterbacks that we're matching up, correct?
No, we're 3 players. We have $5 in contracts. And if you look, I'm actually pulling up right now. What are we doing here? Let's enter a new lineup right here, and you'll get the chance to see some of the guys we're doing here.
So when it comes to $2 players, there's not a lot I like. In fact,
I'll say is they gave us $2 to play with here. So we're going with one of our flex players is going to be like if you look at my screen, you can kind of see like we got some $5 players. Your boy Austin Eckler near the top of that list.
You know what? I was wrong. I see there's one more starting quarterback for $2, and that's Joe Flacco against Baltimore, which we've established we don't like that play.
That is a terrible play this week. Yeah.
But I'm seeing some very interesting $2 plays here. I'm not going to lie to you.
So let's go with I want to before we do that, I kind of want to point out like who I think might be the best plays of the week. So we're already going. We already decided we're going to go Trubisky with one of our flex spots.
Yes.
He's not going to be that though. He's not going to be an MVP candidate because he is not necessarily good value.
Oh.
And we want the double points to be used properly.
I see how.
So looking at some of the matchups here's the things that I'm targeting that I think is good. For quarterback, I don't know if we can pick Tampa Bay. But Tom Brady has a really good rating. Jonathan Taylor has a really good rating. For quarterbacks, though, in my 4-point tier, if we're looking at that, Dak Prescott and Lamar Jackson are 3 quarterbacks that we like. And I think one of those should be the MVP play, unless we want to go $5 on Taylor and then go for two $2 players.
Okay, so read that list back to me one more time.
So for the quarterbacks, the quarterbacks I want to be looking at, I'm actually going to just name some players, and then I'll look at some matchups where we'd want to pull things. For quarterback, Tom Brady is a 5.5 rated 5 points.
He's a
Dak Prescott, play. Yeah, he's a $4 play.
Yep.
Ooh. Dak Prescott,
$4.
Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray are all 4-point plays. Those are the 4 options quarterback.
So I love Lamar as with the 1.5 point MVP bonus with him being a running quarterback.
Yeah.
To me, that screams like huge upside.
Yeah, Lamar's the guy that I was leaning towards on this because if you remember too, for some of my defensive metrics, Baltimore, by all accounts, is going to just absolutely murder the New York Jets. That's like my biggest upside win of the week. So to me, that Lamar Jackson feels like the smash play for that. Are we agreed on that or no?
Yeah, no, I love Lamar. So that leaves us with $1, and I saw a couple of dollar plays that I'd like to discuss with you.
Okay.
The first is Randall Cobb.
Okay.
I think, like we talked about earlier, he's the guy, I think, in Green Bay this week. I don't know what that means, but I know that there's
no one else left standing. Yeah.
He's going to be on the field more than I think he's priced at.
Okay.
So I like that a lot. Rex Burkhead I'm kind of whatever on, but I think he's worth thinking about because
I'm going to be honest with you right now. It's unlikely you're going to come up with a better play for me than Randall Cobb. I'd like you to still list him, but wide receiver matchup. If you remember, my system says it's the Green Bay matchup is the 3rd best matchup for wide receivers. What's going on, Minnie? We're just working on seeing if my metrics can make us money, and I hope you enjoy it. But Green Bay is the 3rd best matchup for wide receivers based on last year. So Randall Cobb is a smash play here for me, unless you can find another thing that hits a 5 points on my scale.
I think that's probably the play.
Okay.
I'm looking at guys, and I just don't think that there's a matchup there that's better than what Cobb has.
In a Devontae Adams Green Bay offense, Randall Cobb
Devontae Adams
had 39 targets last year.
And that's what you want from a $1 player. I mean, KJ Osborne is out there, but if you're as high on Green Bay's defense, especially this week as you're saying, then why we don't bet against ourselves? We're trying to see how good this is.
And that's a big thing. Like if you don't, we don't just want to make decisions. Like we want to look at things that match up with what the numbers that we're creating are telling us. Because first off, if we're right, the system's good. If the system isn't working and it shows a problem, we'll have to figure out where the flaw is. Having said that, do we want to do one more of these, or do we just want to leave it at the one?
I think since it's week 1, we should stick with one, and we should move on to kickers. Wait a minute.
Do we want to go to kickers right away, or do we want to end on kickers?
Wait a minute.
What?
I found another $1 player that I think might be intriguing in a cop.
Okay, what's that?
Kadarius Toney.
Ooh, that is an interesting one. It doesn't show up on my metrics, but I get the play. The only reason I would say I wouldn't mind trying another one is because I wouldn't mind a Tom Brady at $4, right?
Yeah.
And then we can do 4, 5, 6. Oh, then we would need to, then we could do a Kadarius Toney and figure out another $2 player.
Okay. All
So
right,
let's
Randall
do
Cobb.
one more lineup here.
So we have one 3-man lineup in so far, $3. It's Lamar Jackson's our MVP, Trubisky and Cobb.
Okay, so let's go Tom Brady. And then let's go Kadarius Toney.
Yep, and okay, so let me enter this in real quick.
I wish there was a way to just sort by like $2 players.
So Brady's your MVP.
Yep, 100%. So I'm looking
Kadarius
at some of
Toney.
these plays, and I can already feel that I'm not going to like these.
No, 2. There's a lot of good players in 2. You just got to scroll down. James Robinson. What do we think about James Robinson?
Oh, you already know what I think about James Robinson. After watching Mr. Cam Akers this week, I'm not really a fan. But here's a name I'm going to throw out at you. There's a couple of names I'm going to throw out. They're not going to show up on the metrics, but I love them.
Is it
First
Juju?
one, Darn for $2.
Okay.
Only receiver there, so he could be interesting. But the one that I think I might like a little bit more, Kyle Pitts for $2.
Against the Saints.
Yeah, oh, that's the problem though, right? That's not a very good matchup. But man, Kyle Pitts, who else are they throwing to?
Drake London.
I guess. Let's see if there's another one here that I'll like.
DJ Moore is $2.
Ooh, we were talking about that revenge game. The matchup doesn't necessarily it doesn't match with the metrics, but we also said that like with new quarterback, enough changes that could make that like interesting. I'm trying to see if I can find something I'll like.
Chase Edmonds. Rashad Bateman. You liked Rashad Bateman, right? He's $2.
Rashad Bateman. That receiver matchup actually is a positive one. Bateman might be the smart play here.
If we were going to do that, though, we would want to stack the Bateman-Lamar lineup.
And then what would we
So then this would be Brady, Toney, and Trubisky.
Okay.
And the other one
back to that. Because that gives us a much better chance of hitting first place.
Okay.
Now,
I 100% agree with that.
Now, what's the thought process behind stacking the lineup?
If Lamar Jackson is as good as he if Lamar Jackson throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, if we have one of his receivers, there's a good chance we double our points.
Yeah.
And the money is all at the top of these tournaments, so a stack is a very good idea at all times. So yeah, I'm going back in there and switching that lineup up. So yeah, Bateman, Lamar, and Randall Cobb. I feel incredibly good about that lineup.
Okay. So let's move on from our 3-mans and let's go to where our bread and butter was last year. We'll go right to the kicker.
Give me a second. I want to update this because I'll forget if I don't.
All right. So we try to, on DFS for Cheapskates, before we turn into DFS for Rich Little Boys, is we're trying to maximize our money. So we have $6 in right now. We try to not go over $20 if possible.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're going to get close to that because I'm only doing $1 tournaments. I'll do one millionaire tournament entry at the end based on what we decide is our favorite plays.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to now?
We're going to the kickers.
I feel like kickers are what we should end on because we know that's going to be our strongest lineup. But I'll defer to you. Do you want to, like, what do you think, Josh? I'll let you be the tiebreaker. Should we go for the standard lineups? If you guys have thoughts in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we go with kickers right now?
Okay, let's do the kickers.
They've changed it. We got to take a look at this.
It'd be interesting. No matchups match my criteria for kickers?
There's no tournaments for kickers.
Yeah, there are. There was. I just saw them before.
Head-to-heads, man.
Huh?
We have 20-player leagues, 4-player leagues, 3-player leagues, $1, 100-player leagues.
What happened? I literally saw a tournament just a little bit ago. Like I was looking up the kickers before.
I don't see that, man.
That's so weird.
They fucking nerfed us.
No, it was there yesterday, so I have a feeling a tournament. It might have filled up, and there's going to be a new one.
Okay.
I'm going to look up for the brand real quick.
Pat McAfee going to WWE really fucked us.
I'm very mad about this if that's the case. Well,
Show's
whatever.
canceled.
We're done.
Let's go to the lobby real quick. I'm going to the NFL real quick. I'm not going to just do tournaments, though. We should be able to do everything. There was a kicker thing, though. Are there head-to-head kickers?
Yeah.
Well, screw that. I'll do one of those, like, kicker things. Doesn't have to be a tournament. It could be a 3 to 100 man.
We've got the $1 100-player league.
Let's see. I didn't put all this work in to not be able to do kicker things. It'll show up later, I'm sure, if it's...
Well, let's build some lineups. Let's build our best lineups.
All right, yeah.
So this 100-player league for $1 entry, we can only enter one time.
Really?
One entry. 100 players.
I am not very happy about this.
So let's get into the kickers. Let's do what we can, and we'll save these lineups so that if more contests open tomorrow, we can just...
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm going to be checking this out later. That's so weird that it's not there, because I saw it yesterday.
They nerfed us, dude. They knew we were too powerful.
I don't think they care. They get their rake regardless. So we're looking at the tier A here. Well, we'll do it the way I always do it. Who do we think are going to be the best kickers this week?
In this tier, the two that I think are the top-rated kickers are probably Ryan Suckup and Justin Tucker.
Ryan Suckup and Justin. So based on the metric, Suckup is on Tampa?
Yep.
Nope. And Tucker is also not getting the best rating here. Honestly, there's only I got 1.5 in 4 4-point ratings here.
So who's your 5?
My 5 is not in this tier.
Oh,
surprisingly enough, which bodes well for the future.
Any 4s in this tier?
Huh?
Any 4s in this tier?
Oh yeah, a couple of them. We got let me see, Dan Carlson. We got well, unfortunately, one of them was already went. Matt Gay. We got Harrison Butker, and surprisingly enough, Detroit. Oh yeah, it's Harrison Butker and Dan Carlson. Those are our options.
So, you said earlier how much you love Derek Carr's 268.5 passing yards over. That says to me that you want the kicker on that offense, right?
Well, Dan Carlson was the best kicker in football last year from a fantasy football standpoint. Harrison Butker, they were constantly getting touchdowns. The Raiders were not. I'm leaning Dan Carlson just for that.
Let's go, Dan Carlson.
Okay, let's look at Tier B. Hopefully this is a nice, easy one. Nick Folk is not going to make the cut, guys.
Oh boy,
To the
okay.
sadness of all of us. And maybe he will, actually. I don't think any of these guys. Yeah, I don't see. Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna be so sad if both of our guys are in Tier C that are left.
So who do we like in B?
That is a good question. Um,
If
in
I had to
B,
bet, if I was a betting man, which I'm not,
mhm,
um, I would go with either Gold or McManus.
Gold or McManus. Gold is lower on this list. McManus is a little bit higher, but there are three guys here. There are two guys that I like a little bit better here. Young Ho
Sam?
Koo has the highest rated score, tied for with I don't know, is the Washington kicker on here?
No.
Well, then that means I think Young Ho Koo is the play according to my system.
Really?
Yep,
Taking the Saints plus 5.5, but Atlanta's going to drive the ball a little.
they're gonna have some garbage be in field goal range. You might have a couple of 50-yarders, basically.
Okay.
That's what it's saying. I'm
I
just going to
trust.
go with the
Hey, I
system.
trust.
This
Let's
this
go.
feels like this doesn't feel right to me. It feels wrong, but at the same time, like it is what it is. I'm going to
Right, we're
trust the
trusting the
numbers,
system.
All hail
and this one is
Skynet.
going to be a no-brainer. And we are going with Pittsburgh's that Chris Boswell. He is the
All
number
right.
one rated kicker this week, according to my system.
Okay.
And the good news is the other guy I don't think is on here, so we'll get him in the next round. I feel pretty good about the options we're getting here.
Okay. If the system likes it, I mean, the system crushed last year, so you have to trust the system and see where it gets you.
So the play here is Austin Sieberts out of Detroit.
Okay.
So this will be interesting. We'll see it. Now for the Superflex. This is what killed us last year. So this is where I feel like we want to try to make sure we put our best foot forward. Uh, if you guys have any options, I'm going to tell you the guys that I like the most here. Tom
I think.
Brady,
Go ahead.
Jonathan Taylor.
I think JT is massive amounts of chalk.
Yep.
He's
But
got he's got the best matchup of the week. He led the NFL in rushing last year.
yep. I think it's 100% the best play. So,
I'm
like,
I
we
I
don't even want to
also
overthink it because this is the part that always killed us. I'm hoping that this is going to make the kicker lineups even stronger because we would have had a better return if we had hit on some of those super flexes.
if you want Brady over Lamar, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying Jonathan Taylor is the play. I'm saying
Mm.
I'm hoping that my system here, like, because I was saying last year, the kickers were never the problem in some of our lineups. A lot of the times we nailed the kicker portion, but we were wrong on the super flex.
I worry because Taylor's. I think he's gonna. If he smashes, he gets 30 points.
Yep.
But if a quarterback smashes, they get 40 points.
That's fair. But honestly, Tom Brady, like if we're not going Jonathan Taylor, we should be going Tom Brady. Honestly, I'm probably just I'll do a second one, same lineup, and probably do one of each, just to be safe.
Well, since we're in a group of 100 here, I'm willing to ride with
You're willing to ride with what?
Jonathan Taylor
Yeah.
instead of a 2,000 person tournament. If it's only a 100 player league, then
Yeah.
yeah, let's go Taylor.
All right. Boom. We're in. And since we don't have any other tournament options for this, I'm kind of really sad about this. Hopefully there's one tomorrow. It's time to go on to the God, I'm so mad about that.
I know that's brutal.
I
Do you
literally
want
checked
to do
yesterday, so I don't think they got rid of it, but I did notice that it was almost full yesterday.
so? Something we did last year to some success was Superflex near the end. So I'm wondering if you wanted to enter.
Yeah, let's do one superflex. Let's do a couple. Let's each uh no,
Well,
you know
there's
what? Let's
four.
just do a
There's
superflex.
we
Huh?
only have a $4 tournament.
For the superflex?
Yeah, but we can play a double up if you want.
Oh, let's just do the $4 tournament and leave it at that then.
Okay.
And for the Superflex, what are we feeling here? I'll tell you what
Who are the quarterbacks we like the most this week?
Oh, well, obviously the quarterbacks we like the most are Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. I kind of want to look at the two cheapest ones of those options.
Dak is 84.
Tom Brady's 87.
Tom Brady's 87. Kyler's 93. Lamar's 96.
So we're going Dak and Tom?
Sounds great. Sunday night?
Yeah.
This is something that we talked about a little bit last year, is pushing in on games with a high overall and high pace of play in an attempt to just maximize. And so, Josh, something that we do, we were talking earlier about stacking.
Mm-hmm.
If we're expecting a game to be a shootout, it's also important to get players on the run back on the other side.
Right.
Because if one team scores 35 points, that means the other team has had enough possession theoretically score a handful of points as well.
Right. Because the higher the score on the winning team's side, the more time of possession on the reverse.
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what do you think, Waleed? Should we stack Brady with Mike Evans here?
I think that's definitely going to be a play to look at. What I was wanting to look at too is before we get there, I want to go to tight end because there are two 4-point plays matchup wise that I think are good. And you know what? Actually, Cameron Brate might be the play.
I think that's awesome
because he's going to be cheap.
Cameron Brate is 4,900,
and this matchup for tight ends is pretty damn good.
So, question, because I don't see anywhere on the screen where it says like a salary cap. Is the goal to have the most success with the cheapest lineup?
So we have a cap.
Okay.
If you look at the top over here, like you see in the upper right hand corner now.
Oh, got it.
I have an average of $7,150 to spend per player because of the money we put on quarterbacks. We have 42,900 remaining. Now we're looking at Cameron Brates, and he's going to be 4,900. So that's going to actually bring our average player total up to 7,600 for the remaining 5 spots.
Oh, I understand.
I also honestly really like Evans. I'm putting that out there. If we started with Brady, Evans, Brate, and Prescott, we would still have 7,500 left to fill our.
So here's another option. If we want to skip on Brady, on Brates, to like make sure we don't have too much invested in one thing. The number 3 rated team against tight ends last year. This is only a 4-point thing. Or the number 5, or tied for 4th. We could look at the tight ends from the Jets and Denver. Who is the Jets starting tight end is the question.
CJ Uzama, 4,800.
And then what about Denver? That's going to be Albert O, right?
Albert O is.
Where is Albert?
He's not playing. He plays Monday.
Oh, so we can't get him on this one?
Right.
Well, that makes it easy.
The thing about the Jets is it could be Conklin too.
So do we want to go Uzama or Conklin is the question.
I want to go Brate.
You want to go Brates?
Yeah. And then we don't need we could pass on Mike Evans.
Well, we can come back to Mike Evans. How about that?
Okay, I'm leaving him in just so that we can see what we're working with.
Okay, so we're going to stick with Brate for now.
Yep, so right now we're at Brady, Evans, Brate, and Prescott.
So let's look at some of these running back plays here. Christian McCaffrey's always a solid play. But if we want to look at the best running back matchups, do we pick a defense on this one or no?
No.
Oh, I love it. We'll save that for later then. So from the running backs, Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Baltimore. We can go, or 4 points. We can go Green Bay.
So if I really like AJ Dillon at 6,100
Yeah, that was something I was kind of looking
against
at too.
Minnesota. Like he's going to get a majority of the rushing. That's just what they're going to do.
So here's what I'm kind of feeling here, and I'm just going to throw it back out there. I want to throw another Jonathan Taylor here, and then see what we can work with at the wide receiver spot.
Okay.
Like you say, go big or go home. I'm going with the stud who's got the best matchup. We still got 7,200 for our 2 wide receivers and flex spots too.
And if you put in Mike Evans, you would still have 50.
Okay. What are some? I kind of like. I want to go Bateman here because he's got a really good matchup for us.
Bateman is 6,100.
Yeah, because if we get Bateman, we might like. I'm hoping we can get some money to go somewhere else at our second wide receiver spot. Because what do we have now average? 7,800? Because I'm trying to look at that, and I'm like, do I want to get a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson in here, or even a CeeDee Lamb?
Well, you can afford both Mike Evans and CeeDee Lamb.
Let's look at. Yeah, you know what? I want CeeDee Lamb and Mike Evans. I think that gives us the strongest lineup.
Yeah, we're going hard on this Sunday night
there.
game. We're going hard on this Sunday night game, but I really like.
Well, that's the game that like everything says is just going to be like points. So we should be going hard on it. So looking at this final lineup here, we got Tom Brady, AJ Dillon, Jonathan Taylor, Rashad Bateman, CeeDee Lamb, Cameron Brate, Mike Evans, and Dak Prescott. The thing I love the most about this, every has got a 4 or 5 point rating system for me, and we got some studs in here.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is an interesting. This could be an interesting Superflex line.
The only
I feel like that's something to throw.
That I don't necessarily like, and this is coming from, like, I understand like stacking like a couple of things on a team, but I think you're focusing so much of your guys' stuff on the playing time of one game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. But like here's the way I look at that. Like I said, I'm creating a system. I'm gonna trust that what I created is right. If it burns me too many, I have to like reanalyze it and figure it out. But the number where we want to throw our money. That's where the best money spent is.
But coming from a nerd standpoint as well, Waleed, your system does not take into account you taking like the effect that you taking one of those players has on the effectiveness of the other player in the same lineup.
Well, here's the truth of the matter. Tom Brady is probably going to throw for 300 yards. It's not all going to one person. He's going to distribute the ball.
Oh, no, I agree.
And Tom Brady, but what I'm saying is Tom Brady is known for exploiting the weak. Like he's going to find a weakness in a defense, and the weaknesses on that Dallas defense are in their like secondary. It's like they get interceptions, but they play risky, and I kind of feel like Mike McCarthy is going to fall apart a little bit. So the 2 most likely candidates to really get those targets are who we're picking. If Tom Brady doesn't do what we think, we're kind of screwed anyway. But Cameron Brate's also our cheapest play. Like we've thrown so much money at good players in other positions, we've already kind of hedged against that.
And so what I've learned is if you're playing in a tournament, the best way to take home the money instead of playing for a safe floor, is to bet on what game you think is going to be the highest scoring game.
Yeah.
And put as many stakes into that as possible.
And the other thing too is like a safe lineup might get us like double our money, but we're going for the big payout here. And that's like $1,000, you know?
We're going to do, I think So I want to do one more of these,
Okay.
and you talked about the teams with the best rushing matchups this week,
Yeah.
and I want to exploit FanDuel's half PPR and focus on a more run heavy lineup here.
Okay.
So I
For the
want to,
Superflex here?
yes, I want to do another super flex, and I want us to start with Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts.
Okay. Yeah, from a rushing total standpoint, that's not a bad play.
And I
Okay.
think the cool thing about this is I don't think we need to pay up for very many stacks. I think we could do a Mark Andrews.
I was going to say Mark Andrews is getting really good numbers here, so if we're going Lamar Jackson, I want Mark Andrews.
So now we've got 2 quarterbacks and a tight end.
Yeah.
And I think this is one where we pay up and down a little bit at wide receiver.
So here's where I want to throw Randall Cobb out.
Love it.
He's got the matchup that we said we like, so we put him at one in our wide receiver spots. Here's another wide receiver. Not a lot of players in the same game here, but another good matchup at wide receiver is the New York Jets. But I don't know if that a lot of that was probably because Baltimore is like not healthy, but Elijah Moore could be fun.
If we put in Moore and Cobb as our discount wide receivers, we would end up with 400.
With what?
7,400 left for 2 running backs and
Okay. Looking at those running backs here.
is this a McCaffrey?
Honestly, what I was looking at is Aaron Jones.
Well, why not both?
Well, yeah, we'll see what the you know what? I don't mind going McCaffrey, but I kind of let me see real quick because McCaffrey could be good, but I think that Tennessee might be better. Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Just because his matchup, he's not at a 4, but it's one of the higher rated matchups that we have.
Hey, I've already staked money on Henry scoring a touchdown and getting 100 yards this week.
So now we got 5,200 to spend on our flex spot. This
Yes,
is where we're gonna have to go.
Let's value shop.
Yeah, let's find our bargains.
J.D. McKissick is interesting. Ooh, Michael Carter.
Michael Carter is interesting. Man, that's a lot of shares for a game that I'm taking the under on.
Yeah, let's see if we can pivot then.
But the matchup says that he's not a bad play either. Let's see. I'm scrolling down here trying to figure out what we're looking at. Honestly, he still might be the best play to go with. Because like you said, just having a lot of shares in a game that could be high scoring.
I don't think it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah. But I do think that like the problem is we got Elijah Moore and Michael Carter. That kind of scares me.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Let's see. Looking at this, definitely don't like Philip Lindsay. You know what? I think J.D. McKissick just might be the safe play.
I like it.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
I was thinking about it. Yeah.
Because I don't want to change anything else in the lineup. So this last lineup here, we got Lamar Jackson, we got Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Randall Cobb, Elijah Moore, Mark Andrews, J.D. McKissick, and Jalen Hurts.
This one is going to be interesting. I want to see how the system predicting these two having a great rushing plays into it, and since it's half PPR, I really don't want to spend too much. Like running backs should still be our focus.
100% agree. Now it's time to get to the good stuff, the main events.
We are $15 in, and we have 5 lineups.
All right, but I'm going dollar lineups here, so
Full roster. The main late swap on FanDuel. Welcome back. Oh, they have beat the score tournaments back.
Didn't we decide that was not a good idea?
Yeah, because if everyone beats the score, the pot is just like really small.
Yeah. So we're gonna bring it down to $1.
Tournaments.
So the way we're gonna do this one, Josh, the way we usually do it, we each do our own lineups. And Tony, you can go first.
Okay, so I'm gonna enter the small squib single entry $1 of 11.76. So that means you should enter the one that's.
Oh, I'm doing the 100K to multi tournament entry for $1. I'll do multiple lineups in this one.
Oh, so you want us to just put all ours in that one?
Yeah, 100K. Let's go big or go home. I don't want to do a single entry if I have a lot of entries. I'd rather play the field with the bigger prize.
We're doing the 100K Sunday NFL dive.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we wrote out a spreadsheet this year because we are fucking professionals now.
Yeah.
So one of the guys that I identified premium player that I was willing to pay up for was Jalen Hurts, but I think we're full on Jalen Hurts right now. So
we got one share of him.
Well, okay, that's a good point. But I'm gonna start this week by doing a Derek Carr and Devontae Adams stack.
Hey.
Okay. Betting on you. You're betting on coming back against me in the Experts League.
In a word, yes.
Okay.
I like the Devontae Adams share because, like,
he's going to be awesome because he's really good at football.
Yeah, he's going to, like...
So I have some budget plays that I want to work in here. So my tight end play is going to be a $5,000
Cole Kmet?
Yep.
Hey.
My man.
And I'm also going to save a ton of money by putting in my flex at the princely sum of $5,400, Damien Pierce.
Ooh.
Now, I don't love Damien Pierce, and I don't love Houston's offense. But
He's going to get a lot of opportunity, though.
And I don't think they're going to get shut out.
Yeah.
And at 5,400, if he gets 50 total yards and a touchdown, worth it.
And you can put that money on plays that can play off a lot bigger. No, I respect it.
I also, my defensive pick this week is Philadelphia against the Lions at 4,100.
Okay.
Smash play for me this week is McCaffrey at running back.
Yeah, I was hoping that one of us would put in a CMC share.
Smash play for me at wide receiver discount is Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
Against Tennessee, who was terrible against the slot last year.
Yeah.
So that leaves me 5,100 left.
You got? Wait, did I miss a player here? Because I got Derek Carr, Damien Pierce, Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, Kadarius Toney, Cole Kmet, and the Eagles.
My apologies. I got a little excited there. Say it. I'm putting in Derrick Henry.
Oh, Derrick Henry in the flex. Oh, we're going big on this one. I love it. So 5,100 left. What are we looking at?
You know how many times we've said his name? I said his name, and I've said beat
Randall
the Bears.
Cobb.
Yep, Randall Cobb.
That I was already thinking that in my head. I was curious if that's where we're going. So we got our first lineup. We're gonna try to pull out 6 of these, and then we're gonna try to do a consensus with like our favorite players. So we got Derek Carr, Damien Pierce, Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, Kadarius Toney, Randall Cobb, Cole Kmet, Derrick Henry, and the Eagles defense. This is a heroes and zeros lineup. But if those zeros hit and the heroes hit the way they should, it could be money. So we're putting in this first one. I'm going to do this one next, and then we'll have Josh try to talk us through the through what he wants to do.
Okay. All right.
It's gonna be about picking players, and then we'll figure out how it works, man. This is where the fun happens. So here, this is the easy way to do it. Let's duplicate this entry and then just clear it out. So the one I'm gonna do here, I am a man who is going by a cheat sheet, and my cheat sheet tells me
we all gotta live by a code, Waleed.
Yeah. It's going to either be Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray. It's going to be one of those. On this one, we got some Lamars. Do we have any Kyler shares?
We don't.
Did we do him in the 3-man? We didn't, right?
We didn't.
And we didn't do him in the Super. Yeah. So by that logic, I want one share of him at least. Not only that, though, he's also a little bit cheaper than Lamar, which I like. It's only $300, but you got to get that savings where you can. So I was talking about it while you weren't a fan of Ozuma.
Yeah.
How do I don't even know how to say his name.
CJ Uzama?
Oh, that's because I'm spelling it with I'm going to go 4,800 CJ Uzama because that is a play that could potentially hit. This one, I'm just going to go straight chalk with my sheet here. I'm going to be targeting guys that should be monsters. And on that logic, we're going Jonathan Taylor. I want to put the best players I can. My next running back, because I agree with you, is, you know what? Actually, let me look at the running backs here real quick.
I have some values that I noted earlier. Saquon Barkley at 6,800.
My next lineup, I'm not going with my sheets, and I'm
Sure.
going to be looking at some of those here. For this one, I am going to target guys on the sheet, and I'm going to look at. I want an Eagles running back, and I want a. And on that note, I'm Miles Sanders for 6,500. He's got a great matchup here, so I'm going to trust that matchup might hit. For my flex, I also want to get a Baltimore running back. And I think Mike Davis might end up being the play here. I don't like Mike Davis very much, but he's super cheap.
How much?
5,600.
There he is.
For the guy who should be the lead back there, because we see that J.K. Dobbins isn't quite healthy yet. So I could see that. Now, from a defensive standpoint, I'm just going straight Baltimore here.
Because even though you're starting Uzama at tight end?
Huh?
You're starting Uzama at tight end, though.
It doesn't mean he won't score.
Okay.
But, I understand what you're saying, but let me see. Maybe I can go a different tight end. Maybe I can go a cheaper defense here. You know what? I kind of agree with you here. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to go with Tennessee's defense instead.
Okay.
I'll save a couple $100, but I won't be betting against myself. So now I have 3 wide receiver plays that I could make here. And on those, unfortunately, I can't take Mike Evans here. I can take Rashad Bateman, though.
6,100.
And I'm going to.
So $7,000 for 2 receivers. Do you stack Hollywood here?
Yeah. I was Hollywood playing. I thought that. Oh no, it's Moore.
Hopkins is out.
Moore
is out. There's a chance that Zach Ertz is out.
Yeah. And then I got another $7,100 that I can put at wide receiver. Looking at the wide receiver options here, let's see. God, I'm gonna have a little bit of money left over, I think. Let us see. I'm gonna have some money left over, but I'm going Juju because I like that matchup. And I can't take some of the guys that I like a little bit more. So I'll have a little bit of savings here, but I'm taking all guys off my charts. I got Kyler Murray. God, I have 700 left over. That makes me wonder where I can pay up somewhere else.
You put Juju in at that second receiver?
I did. I got Bateman, Marquise Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. I got Mike Davis here at running back, but...
That means we could move up. You could move up at tight end.
Yeah, let's look at those tight ends here. Because that's a lot of money to leave on the table. when I might be able to get let's see, what's it 5,500? Becky Thomas. No, none of these matchups look really good to me at tight end. I'm wondering if I can get rid of Mike Davis here though. What is AJ Dillon looking like?
I think he's 61.
He's at 61, really? So if I take this out over here, yeah, I put an AJ Dillon, which is a much stronger play anyway,
Over
and I
Mike
only have
Davis.
$200. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, so I go. So my final lineup here got Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders, Rashad Bateman, Marquise Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, C.J. Uzama. You know what? Let's not leave any money on the table. Maybe Conklin's the guy.
What about Hooper?
Is Hooper there?
Tennessee, 4,900.
No, I don't want. I'm not looking at the Titans. I'm looking at a Jets tight end.
Okay.
So
Conklin.
we'll go Conklin here to just maximize all my spending here.
Okay.
Especially because I think Conklin might end up being more of a red zone guy anyway, if they get there. So, final lineup here. We got Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders, Rashad Bateman, Marquise Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Conklin, A.J. Dillon, and the Titans defense. Interesting. The way my chart went is not a team. This is not a team I would have built last year.
No.
So, I'm going to be very curious to see how it works out. Now, Josh, it is your turn.
All right. Let's get in here.
right.
Folks. Make some mistakes. Learn some lessons.
Yeah.
We're gonna go start with give me the look at quarterbacks here, Wally.
Yep. Clearing this out. So quarterbacks.
We already have so much but this is mine. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
We're gonna
You
go
do with what you think is going to work.
with Lamar.
Lamar?
I think it's gonna be a big game for him. A return of the MVP caliber season, hopefully.
Okay.
Let's go with tight ends maybe.
Yeah.
And go.
Do you want to stack him with Andrews?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go Kelsey?
You know what? Let's go Kelsey for right now. I think tight end might be the one where I move down in price.
Okay.
Let's see. What's my amount of money look like, Wally?
So you got an average of 6,200 you can spend on players at this point.
6,200.
Yeah, but you know what? We can bring that price up by picking a defense. What defense do you really?
I kind of
Indianapolis at 45. Always a solid choice.
Yeah.
Houston's bad.
Yeah.
And that shoots your numbers up to 6,500.
Okay. Let's go running backs because they have PPR.
Yeah.
That might be why I don't go Kelsey here.
Yeah.
Well, go down to the. Okay. Hold on. You know what? We're gonna jump over to the wide receivers again. What is Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Ooh, good question.
6,500.
Hey, we're getting some Sun God.
I can dig it.
Let's go. I do like the Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay.
I think.
And you can pay up for some and then pay down for others too.
Yeah. What else do I have left, Wally? Wide receiver.
You got a wide receiver, a flex, and 2 running backs.
Wide receiver, flex, and 2 running backs. Okay. That Kelsey might drop down to something else. But
You want me to get rid of Kelsey?
yeah, just so I see what we're working with.
Yeah, that shoots you up to 68-20.
Randall Cobb, throw me in on the bandwagon. I like Tony's reasoning.
All right. Hey, if you want to go crazy, let's just for the hell of it. Romeo Dobbs is $100 cheaper. Different Green Bay receiver, but maybe he's the guy who has a big game.
No, I like Cobb because I like to Tony's point earlier. That might be on the other show. Like Aaron Rodgers likes to throw to people who he knows his name. You know.
Yeah.
So,
So we got 2 running backs, a tight end, and a flex.
2 running backs, a tight end, and a flex. All right, switch me over to running backs then.
Okay.
What's my average? 7?
You got 72.50 right now.
Okay.
So let's scroll down a little bit here.
Yeah. All right. Give me Gibson. Oh,
Antonio
give me Barkley. Give me a Barkley.
He's cheap.
And do I go Antonio Gibson here? Wait, but then
Against Jacksonville, that might not be a bad play.
But then, yeah, give me Antonio Gibson.
So now you got 7,700 to spend on your tight end and flex spots.
Let's see a tight end here.
Yeah. Mark Andrews gives you that stack, and you'll have 7,500 left for that flex.
All right, I like
Lamar Jackson.
No, yeah, I like the Andrews play.
Okay. And his matchup is better than Kelsey's too, so I don't mind that.
And then,
let's look at the flex players that you have available at 7,500.
Yeah, scroll me down and see which ones I like.
You got Keenan Allen at 7,400, Aaron Jones at 7,400, Michael Pittman at 72.
You know what?
AJ Brown at 70.
I think I like Pittman here.
I mean, I was surprised it took us this long to get a Pittman share, if I'm being honest.
I
you agree with that, Tony?
Absolutely.
I got no shares of him in other places, so I do like the play.
Yeah.
Especially against Houston.
All right,
so let's final lineup here.
Let's take a look at it.
You got Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Antonio Gibson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Randall Cobb, Mark Andrews, Michael Pittman, and a Colts defense. It's a solid-ass lineup.
All right, baby's
We're putting
first
that guy
lineup.
in.
Let's go.
All right. You son of a... FanDuel, you broke it. They're like, something's gone wrong on our end. This lineup is too damn good. We don't know if we can let you cash it. Let's try this again. All right. Tony, second lineup here.
All right. So I'm going to start at I'm going to take a weird angle.
Okay.
Because in tournaments like this, I think wards the weird a little bit.
I agree.
So I'm going to start with Jameis Winston as our quarterback.
Oh, what a strong play. I fucking love it.
So,
And
who are we stacking them with is the question, because I know you're stacking them.
Alvin Kamara.
Oh, that was not the answer I thought you'd go for, but I do respect it. Let me see real quick on that. Where are you, running back? New Orleans just missed a cut as being a solid running back team, so I really do like that.
Well, and I like the loss of Foye Olakun. Atlanta, I mean,
yeah,
biggest tackler up the middle, and I think sneakily one of the Falcons team is so I can.
What was that? You cut out a little bit. I didn't hear that.
I think the one of the strengths for Atlanta is their defense. A lot of checkdowns. Mara.
Okay.
I'm gonna pay down at defense. I'm gonna try to find the still can have a decent game, and I think my play then against.
Sorry, man. I can't hear you.
Sorry, my computer is weird. So I think I'm trying to find the defense that I think can still get me a decent amount of points. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders against Jackson at 3,700.
Ooh, strong play. I like that. Gives you now you have 68.50 to spend on your other spots here.
Right. So a name that we haven't really talked about today that I think is someone that I want is T. Higgins.
I always want T. Higgins.
I want T. Higgins a lot this week. I love him in season long, and I love him in Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to be shading Jamar Chase. I think defenses watched everything they did in the postseason and were like, I don't care, put two people on Jamar Chase play. And I think that means T. Higgins is going to be here.
Yep.
I want another premium running back play here, and I think I'm going to go DeAndre Swift at 7,600. That's one of the players that I was willing to pay up for. I'm going to save a little bit of money at wide receiver, and I'm going to go with Mike Williams.
Okay.
The Chargers.
Discount Keenan Allen.
Yep.
So right now we're at 66.33 left.
So it's tough because I don't want to pay up for tight end. So I'm going to look a little lower. I like Austin Hooper a lot. I think we're going to go with Austin Hooper here because he's cheap, gives us a little bit more flexibility. Because I want Austin. No, I don't want Austin Eckler flex because I've already got Charger. I want. You know what? Give me Nick Chubb. Give me the best pure running back in football. Half PPR, I mind it a lot less.
Yeah. And we got a tight end. We got one wide receiver spot left for 7,200. What are we looking at here?
There's a couple plays I'm interested in. I love AJ Brown, but I don't know about this week.
Yeah.
And you know what? We have no shares of Terry. I think this is a good time for Terry.
I was looking at that
to play here. I think this is significantly less scrubs than my last lineup.
Yeah.
But I think this one has a really solid chance of at least cashing. So we've got Jameis, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Terry McLaurin, Austin Hooper, Nick Chubb, and the Commanders.
You got $200 that you could spend up on.
I know.
But that's usually hard to find that value. I'm curious. I don't know that anything will be better than the value you have in your defense. Because, like, not for $200 more. Because what would that be? Like, you put Kansas City, the Dolphins, the Bears, the Patriots against an extra $200 gets you the Patriots against Miami. I remember that was a play you were saying you liked. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Huh? As the under, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's put the Patriots in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Leave no money on the table if you can.
There you go.
So this lineup, Tony's final lineup here, we got Jameis Winston for 67, Alvin Kamara for 8,500, DeAndre Swift for 7,600, T. Higgins for 7,000, Mike Williams 600, Terry McLaurin for 7,000, Austin Hooper for 49, Nick Chubb for 78, and New England Patriots for 3,900.
Okay.
I like that lineup.
I
All
do
right,
too.
so my final lineup, I don't give a shit about my metrics. I'm just going with guys that I like, that I love on the season. I don't really give a shit about matchup. I just want good players, guys that I think are going to show out this year. Because if I'm right about them, they should be matchup proof. Is basically my logic.
All right.
And also it'll be kind of funny to see like which lineup does better, the one that I've done a lot of math on, or the one that I just ignore. So having said that, we're going to Justin Fields lineup.
Oh.
All right.
There's going to be a homer lineup, and if we're going to go Justin Fields, we need a Mooney share.
God, that's cheap. That's such a cheap start.
Yep, that was kind of the plan with this. You kind of got me thinking on that. I'm going to go with your Washington defense to save some money.
Whoa, what is he spending his money on, folks?
Yeah, he's got plans here.
He does have some plans. I don't. I'm actually kind of playing this by ear. 7,200 is a good start here. I do love Saquon this year.
Do you love Saquon this week?
Why not?
I agree.
The matchup actually is terrible, but like I said, I kind of feel like I've been saying he could be 2017 Todd Gurley. Just
And
that
Giants-
huge breakback. Huh?
Giants are, picking up a offensive-minded coach for the offense that ran the most amount of plays last year. So I think their pace of play is going to be way up.
Yep. And here's the other thing I'm going. I want a Kyle Pitts share. Because if he blows up, he's going to blow up. And right now, I still have 7,600 to spend on a running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex spot.
It's true.
So, looking at the second running back spot, who is a running back that I like that I haven't taken? And I want to make sure it's a matchup that I like. You know what we're going to do here? I've been talking about him all offseason. He's one of my favorite plays. Going Najee Harris.
All right.
And I was talking revenge game earlier. And because of revenge games, if the revenge game does happen, Mr. DJ Moore could be really fun.
It's true.
You got 7,900 for a wide receiver and a flex. Let's look at some of these receivers. God damn it. You know what? Do we have a Jamar Chase share yet?
We don't.
We do now.
All right.
Because
We
why
also
not
don't-
take a
we
guy
don't
who's
have
going to be the best receiver?
We don't have a Jamar Chase either.
We don't have a what?
A Jamar Chase?
What did I say?
You said Justin Jefferson.
Oh, I did. I meant to say I'm not, yeah, but I don't like that matchup for JJ as much as I like this one. So we have DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Michael Pittman Jr., AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, Josh Jacobs. With all this money being sent, you know what? I do kind of like Pittman though. But man, let me see. I also like Aaron Jones, Keenan Allen, and DeAndre Swift.
So is it Jefferson or Chase that's the wide receiver too?
Oh, it's Chase. I went with Chase. Let's see. You know what? At this point, I'm gonna go with my heart, and my heart says that I'm going DeAndre Swift. Fuck it. Go
Sick.
big or go home. You know what though? I fucking love Aaron Jones this week. No, you know what? I like DeAndre Swift. Fuck it. I'll stick with DeAndre Swift. So this lineup here, we're going homer. We're going cheap too because there's always a quarterback no one expects who blows up, and I think it might be Justin Fields. I hope it is basically. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, it's awesome. Got Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley, Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift, and Washington's defense. That is a high upside. That's every one of those guys feels like they could hit for 30 if they like just go off. I love this lineup so much.
It's a great
Josh.
lineup. So let's do one more and then we'll call it
Okay.
because I have an unexpected visit from my mom and
Oh.
Oh,
Nothing
let's get
stressful
this
about
going
that.
then. Do we want to just like? I mean, I'll give
Let's
it the
do one
option.
more. Let's do one
Let's
more.
do one more.
Yeah.
All right. I'm coming out hot with this take, guys. I want some
Okay.
Russell Wilson at quarterback.
You
Who
might not
plays
have
Monday
that
night?
option because it's a Monday night game.
Oh,
Unfortunately, main slate games are Sunday.
got it.
And not Sunday night either.
Yeah,
So no.
it's got to be
Damn.
Sunday, like
Damn.
morning and afternoon games.
Okay. All right. Well, then I think we're going to go with quarterback. Give me scroll down. You know what? We're gonna go Aaron Rodgers, I think.
Okay.
Good.
I like
It's a good choice.
And then go over to running back.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with my boy Eckler.
I was gonna say, are you gonna let Austin Eckler go?
And then
How will you be able to sleep in the?
And then a wide receiver. I think I gotta go. I'm gonna stack up with Cobb, I think.
Okay. We got a lot of Cobb shares.
Yeah.
I feel like one of those should be a Dubs.
Or a Tunyon.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting. You can go cheap at tight end with Tunyon.
Oh, you know what? Get Cobb out of there and put Tunyon in.
Yeah, I was just thinking that like a second ago too, and then I forgot about it. Yeah, 5,100.
Yeah. What's my average look like here?
Your
62.
average
62.
Yeah.
Let's go. What do we got?
But tight end is cheap. So
Yeah.
Let's go defense and see if I can get more value there.
Yeah. So if we want to look at some of the cheaper defenses here, see if there's a matchup you like. Like I went Washington, which is one of the cheaper ones. There's also let's see.
You know what? I do like. I do like the Washington pick.
That Washington, that's a good cheap defense.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite value play.
Yeah, I do like the Washington defense.
And that gives you 6,800 on average for the remaining players.
And I do want a Swift share for myself.
Oh yeah.
As well, you should. So we got 3 wide receivers and a flex. Click over on the wide receiver spot. See what some of these $6,600 guys look like.
Oh, Tyreek Hill, please. If
I like it.
No, yeah, he's a big upside. Like he's a 30 points or 3-point guy, but if he gets you those 30 points, he can make you money.
And you know what? I almost, forget the Aaron Rodgers. Let's stack up and believe in Tua, right?
Oh.
I love it. There is going to be a guy who surprises people, so I like you making that play, and it also gives you a little bit more money now. So you got 6,500 for your last 3 spots.
All right. Let's go because it's half PPR. Let's get a running back in the flex. Who do we want? 6,300.
Did you get that Antonio Gibson last time? You did, right?
I did, yeah. And I have a Saquon Barkley. Do I want the Saquon Barkley in this one though? You know what? For 6,600.
Yeah.
Let's go with the Homer pick.
Oh, I love it. That's who I was looking at.
Let's go Montgomery.
You got 6,450 for your last 2 wide receiver spots.
All right. 16.
So let's look over here.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Did you get him on that last one?
I did, but I also like his new spot.
Okay.
In Kansas City, and we've talked about who's going to catch the ball over there. He might be good.
I like it. It pairs well with Tyreek.
Yeah.
got a
And you know
floor
what?
there.
You know what? Give me Amari Cooper. I like Amari Cooper.
That's definitely behind. Nice. So this lineup here, we got Tua Tagovailoa, Austin Eckler, DeAndre Swift, Tyreek Hill, Juju Smith-Schuster, Amari Cooper, Robert Tonyan, David Montgomery, and Washington.
That's called the spaghetti because we're just throwing it at
Yeah.
the wall and seeing.
That's
what
exactly what
sticks.
you have to do with some of these. All right, guys. So we've put in some work. We got to figure out what's going on with these kicker lineups because I'm a little bit annoyed.
So let me run some totals by us really quick.
Okay.
So we put in 6 $1 lineups and put in 2 $3 tournaments.
Mini over here with like Tua what?
Three.
You know what though? There's always a quarterback in those first couple of weeks that no one sees coming, and like that offensive system might actually work out well for him. It's a nice dart throw because there might not be a lot of people who are playing him, and if he hits big, it ends up doing well in the tournaments. You don't want to take the guy that everyone else is taking. You want to take guys people aren't taking.
So we have 2 3-man kicker lineups, 1 $1 kicker lineup, and 2 Superflex lineups. So we have a total of $21 in on DFS, and then we each put in a $10 bet for the gambling show. So if you combine all of that, we are at $51 over 3 hours. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's good gambling on a budget, but I feel like we have some good plays. So the big question is going to be, how do we do next week? Like, how did we do? Are we still cheapskates? Do we get to buy our monocles? Who knows?
what does the system look like? How are we data after
Guys,
1
I've
week?
already pre-ordered a monocle, so like I'm all in.
Tagliavola, right? Did I say it wrong? Did I say his name wrong? I probably did.
Everybody says it differently.
I'm from
But
Chicago.
you did
We
it
are
exactly
supposed
right.
to. Actually, when you live in Chicago, you are required
Tag.
to mispronounce the name of quarterbacks. Trubinsky, our old quarterback.
Well, gentlemen, I guess we'll see how week 1 plays out. And until next time,
Degenerate
got anything else?
Yeah.
Degenerate Den. We'll see you later. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, degenerate then. That should be the name of the show.
All right.
Guys. Yeah, thank you for joining us. If you're still watching and you aren't subscribed to us, subscribe on Prime. Do us a favor. Take Jeff Bezos' money.
Yeah.
Next show is going to be Sunday, tomorrow. We're going to have our sit-start show. Jeff Crisco's going to be running it. So if you got questions on who you should play in your lineup, he's the man to do it.
And then,
Oh my God, I'm saying it terribly wrong.
And then, if you want to lament or celebrate the success of your fantasy team, come watch me and Waleed on Monday on the Waiver Wire show, where we'll help you fix the lineups that are already totally fucked.
Yep.
True.
All right.
All right, everyone.
You guys.
All right.
Good night.
All right. And the stream's ended?
Yep.